Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Flintlocks and Fireballs, where a handful of mad actors will attempt to survive the turbulent waters of Dungeons and Dragons. I am, as ever, your host and Dungeon Master Jason Phelps, and I am joined by Robbie, Lady Gaga Bellekom, Sam, Baba Yaga Burns, and Ellie Radio Gaga Sparrow.
I'm sorry, I got the best one.
I nearly went with Goo Goo Gaga, and I think I'm slightly regretting that one. I should have done that.
No. I'm keeping Radio Gaga. You've said it. Now it's mine. That's how it works.
No, it's canon. It's canon.
So this particular episode, we're starting a little later than usual because as by the time this releases, you will all have already found out we recorded a little special something for when we hit a certain milestone.
Actual role-playing game, Shia LaBeouf.
Yes. Yes, the actual Cannibal Shia LaBeouf one-shot. So this is weirdly the second spate of role-playing we're doing today.
Yeah, we're all a little insane. It's great.
Yes.
I'm here for it.
Wibble. Wibble.
Okay, so I think it's that special time again where we focus in on our scrying orbs and see if future us have any messages from the present. Hello, it's Future Jason with messages from the present. First of all, I'd like to talk about our newest sponsor, Libris Arcana. Libris Arcana offers monthly or quarterly dice subscriptions. Head over to librisarcana.com and for less than $12, so just under £9, you receive a set of 7 premium dice and 3 randomly selected bonus dice each month to add to your ever-growing dice collection. Robbie, I'm looking at you in particular. They will ship anywhere in the world. Anywhere. If we have listeners in the Amundsen Scott Antarctic Research Station at the literal South Pole, I challenge you to take out a subscription to Libris Arcana. They will deliver. I'm particularly fond of some of the names of dice in their back catalogue. This month's dice set is Dark Galaxy. Previous sets have included Apprentice's Error, Cosmic Prince, Heavy Metal Sunrise, Maelstrom, Melted Unicorn, Peridote Poison, Purple Rain, Sang Royale, Tombstone, Granite, and Universe. In a dark galaxy that no one owns, the fate of worlds rests on throwing bones. Will Sang Royale or Maelstrom rise supreme, or the Cosmic Prince in his endless dream? Additionally, listen up for a spot from our friends over at Party Advantage during the break this episode. This week on Robbie Watch, Robbie will be an awful auntie at the Playhouse in Weston-super-Mare. If you have ever seen or ridden Weston the Super-Mare, please write in and send pictures. This month, Ellie's company Break the Verse is producing their latest play, Schrodinger's Dog, about a man who wants to kill himself and accidentally takes 7 people hostage, all of whom have the potential to save or destroy him. It's a comedy. This show will be on at the White Bear Theatre in London, 23rd of October to the 3rd of November, 7:30 each night and 2:30 matinees on the Saturdays. You can book tickets at whitebeartheatre.co.uk. Additionally, Inkwell Investigations, the escape games company that I started, will be at UK PonyCon in Nottingham on the 13th and 14th of October. You can find me and Sam in our guise as Professor Inkhoof and Archduke Gallop there. Any of our Brony listeners, please come along and play. We will be running a ponified 30-minute version of our game Murder History throughout the convention. Tickets are a tenner if you book in advance on inkwellinvestigations.co.uk. Just head to the booking page and you'll find a widget there. Or £12 if you rock up to the stall on the day. We are all 4 of us, going to London MCM Comic Con on Sunday the 28th of October. We're not guests or anything, we're just going to go there for fun. But if any of our stowaways are there and you spot us, come over and say hi. We would love to meet you. Possibly we will buy you a drink, depending on the state of our wallets. Well, that's it from Future Jason here in the present. Past Jason, what do you have to say for yourself? it's going to be really bad if one of these days we don't, and there's just silence there.
Yeah, everybody's going to be really worried. I mean, not as worried as I am every time you eyeball the microphone as though it's going to say something, but...
it's the old tap, twice for yes, once for no. Yeah.
Maybe this will be in Morse code. I learned Morse code this week.
Really?
Just the alphabet. I can read it, I can't listen to it because it's so fast.
It's crazy fast.
Yeah.
I don't know how people did that. It's mental.
There are sort of those. I always feel like that's the way when you get those old telegraph operators. You know, the ones where it's literally just tapping this button and interpreting it from that. So we're all comfortably arranged today. I'm drinking wine from a gilded chalice in my house,
as befits the DM.
Of course.
Yes.
I'm
all right.
running on gallons of coffee.
So much coffee.
Gallons.
All right.
I'm sticking to the water after all the whiskey I had earlier in the week.
Yes. How was Ireland? All good and well?
Belfast's beautiful. Oh. And the whiskey's great.
Surprised you remember it. We got so many drunk messages from you.
All right then. So, with this cheerful banter out of the way, I think it's time for Flintlocks and Fireballs. Our land stands on the sabre's edge.
Our cities are a powder keg.
Brother chains brother, no one's free. A life on land is short, you'll see. So gather your muskets, gather your spears, we'll plunder the shores of Calcinea. No kraken, storm or spell we fear, so come and sail with us, my dear.
So, previously on Flintlocks and Fireballs, the party, after discovering the dangers of the shadowy incursion within Crosswater, set about a plan of trying to spread fear and panic in the hopes of alerting the watch and gaining more of a response. Along the way, they endangered and then rescued 2 new friends.
Oh, God.
Harold and Janine Butterbar. Harold affectionately known to his friends as Butty. They also engaged in some casual cart theft with interesting side effects and at least one case of animal slaughter due to aggressive overexposure to psychic energies. However, on their way out from this particular cart chase, the party discovered a grain silo which turned out to have been infested by shadows. Despite nearly perishing and using what little resources they still had, the party were able to emerge triumphant from the silo. They rested and recuperated at the Butterbar household in upscale Victor's Grove. And Harold also promised to arrange a meeting with them the following day with Victor Fass, one of the the city's clerics, who might be able to assist, skipping them ahead of the queue, as it were, by getting a second breakfast meeting in. On their way back, the party purchased more supplies from the memorable Jimothy Buchanan, and emerged back out into the stern afternoon light, with there's a slightly cold tone to the light, as it's now a very, very late autumn, and it's around about 3:15 in the afternoon. You have just under 3 hours left of daylight. I will note that we rolled after last week's session for Celestia's addiction to opium. We forgot to do it during the actual show itself, and at the moment, Celestia, your addiction counter is still at 0.
Yeah, I rolled well.
Yes.
We were lucky.
However, as you step back out into the light, Scamp, you hear a voice within your mind. So, boss, friend, seems to me like that big old jar the creepy alchemist guy had full of the black stuff was pretty useful to you, right?
Yeah?
I mean, it'd probably piss him off, but, if you wanted me to, I could go a bit above and beyond what I usually do. What we agreed I'd do, which is just, cooking and cleaning and so on, and holding things, and maybe I could
Skipping.
Skipping, and maybe I could go get that for you. I mean, like I say, it'd definitely piss him off, but the fact is, friend, at some point I'd really like to ask a favour of you. So if you can think of any point of anything that you'd like to ask me to do as a favour to pay you back, that'd be really lovely.
I don't think we should steal from him.
Oh.
I think he might, he'd know, and he's really creepy.
No, that's true. Yes.
Who are you talking to?
Friend.
Right, of course you are.
But I don't mind doing a favour for you.
Okay, but I mean, the way favours work, don't forget you can call on me to do something, above and beyond what we've already agreed.
You don't know how to find shadows, do you?
No better than you can, I'm afraid.
Okay.
I could maybe. I mean, I could look around, see if I can find any traces, any bodies at a distance. I can sort of move things around for about an hour a day. So if you let me use my hour to go wandering about, maybe I might be able to find something. That would be a good use of it.
That could be good.
Can we hear this conversation, or is it
No,
just...
it's entirely one-sided.
Right, okay.
Could you check the sewers?
Yeah.
It's a bit more of a precise place to look.
Yeah, sure. I could go down and check in the sewers. Like I say, I'll have about an hour of searching time, and then I'll need to make my way back to you. But
that's an hour that we don't have to spend.
yeah. As long as I'm pretty hard to see, so I could do that for you. I'd be happy to.
Thank you. I'll find a sewer entrance and let you out.
Okay. About the favour I wanted to ask of you.
Yeah.
Could you adopt a pet? It's like a little animal, like a cat or a rat or a bat or something, because companionship's important.
What will you do with it?
Well, I mean, I can't do anything with it. It'd be your pet. The favour I'm asking is for you to adopt a pet and take care of it for a few weeks until it comes to, until it comes to follow you of its own accord a lot. I mean, until it considers you its master.
Okay. You're not going to hurt it, are you?
No. But it would be nice to have, maybe once you're a bit familiar with it, you could, put me on its collar and then it could carry me around.
Okay. Does it need to be a real one? Because I saw a magic one once.
needs to be something real. It needs to be an animal.
Okay.
Whatever kind of animal you want, but yeah, needs to be real.
Okay.
Thanks, friend. Right, well, drop me off at a sewer entrance. I'm going to need to take my skull with me when I go, so you'll need to, if I find my way back here in an hour, you'll need to pick me up.
Okay.
Okay, and so yeah, you're just outside Jimothy's shop, and there are grates, sewer grates and gutters all over the place, so you can pretty much drop friend's skull into a gutter, or release him so he can go into the gutter himself, wherever in town you'd like.
Pretty much there, I think. Just find the nearest one.
Okay.
Off you go.
Do you not like him anymore?
No,
Is he
he's going to
getting
go
thrown away?
scout. He's scouting.
And you.
Oh, right, that's useful. Great.
Only for an hour, and we've got to pick him up again after.
Okay, so we need to be back here at 4 p.m, yeah?
Sure.
And we need to meet the little boy at 5 p.m. The little newsboy thing, man. So we got a couple of things to do.
He'll be expecting his other 10 gold.
Yeah, what do we want to do in the meantime? I mean,
As you're discussing this, the tiny little silver skull seems to just float out of Scamp's possession, give a little nod, and then this thing is about like an inch in all dimensions, and it just slips down through the sewer grate. And is gone.
Of all of us, it's probably going to be the least likely to be preyed on.
yeah, I mean, there's probably nothing for them to eat, is there? Let's hope not. It's not really alive, is it?
I don't know.
Not sure.
I've got no clue.
So, by my reckoning, we need to do a couple of things. We need to look for more shadows, and I think we need to scry on Olga today.
Agreed.
Because apparently, with a lock of hair, you can be a person, and I mean, among other things, don't get me wrong, I know this isn't the only thing that she's got on us, but she knows where Leah is, and she can be me.
Regents.
So,
Yeah.
I don't want to end the day without scrying on her. I know that we need to find shadows in the daytime, so we can wait till nightfall, but I don't want to wait any longer, because that's very bad.
Alright, well, let's deal with first things first then. Where near here is going to be a place where there's going to be a lot of naturally cast shadow during the hours of daylight. Belfries, tops of towers, warehouses, yeah.
Yeah, attics. You had the idea of a hospital as well, didn't you, Scamp?
Well, if they're looking for weak people.
Are they?
But it's not going to be dark.
True, it's not
They're
going to
looking
be
for
dark.
isolated people. They can make people weak.
Or is it worth talking around and seeing if we find any rumours of people dying? Because surely they'll be near where they killed last night, won't they?
Probably. Let's. That might be the best thing to start with.
Just because it's a big town, you know?
Yeah.
Agreed.
I mean, shall we start where we were last night? And go in the directions of some of the other ones and see if we can find out anything? Do it methodically, or I don't know, what do you think?
We don't know where they went.
They could have got anywhere in the city by now.
True.
So I guess we just start somewhere busy and ask.
Yeah, I mean, a tavern, a market square, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Where's the nearest one to us then?
Okay, so the nearest, in terms of nearest taverns and market squares, there are a couple of small squares within the Glazers Quarter nearby, but in terms of larger squares, you're about equidistant in terms of travel from Castle Square in the centre, the Glazers Market, and Steel Square. In terms of taverns, I mean, there are, various smaller taverns that you might look around for. There is the Brass Lantern, of course, in New Glazer's Ward as well, which is about the same distance away. And there are, various smaller taverns around as well if you wanted to just try those for information.
Well, last night we were more or less here when the shadows emerged. So, actually, I'm going to try and find the exact spot where they did, and then work out which way we went, and take one of the other directions we saw one of the shadows going off in. It's not going to be much, but it's going to be a start as to what direction they would have gone.
That makes sense logically, I feel.
Okay. So you take 5 to 10 minutes to walk down the route you went before until you reach the point roughly halfway between the sort of bastions of the second city wall that you reckon was about the point where the shadows emerged, where you vomited them up, which actually is not that far from the Brass Lantern. When you go looking around in daylight, you can see you were right up against the wall. So you can see now there is one path that, from memory, 2 of them you believe went towards, and I'm going to see, looking at the map here, I'm going to say 2 of them went broadly east along the streets, 2 went broadly west, 1 went due south. The ones that went east, you killed one of those, and the other one vanished from your sight. It got out of sight and blended with the shadows before you could catch it. Mm-hmm. You didn't see exactly where the other 3 went, but you know the directions they started in.
I mean, the Brass Lantern, that's near where we were. That might not be a bad shout because we don't have to bribe anybody or smooth talk. We can just ask.
True, there must be a cellar or an attic in the place.
Yeah, or if, but I mean, they might have heard rumours of funny deaths by now.
Yeah.
True.
That's more what I was thinking. I mean, if there's a cellar, yes, we should check. Just, I mean, for the Grimanis as much as anything. But the thing is, they will be easy to ask. We don't have to be coy about it. That is near here, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, it's actually it's almost directly due south.
Oh, so it's where the South Shadow went anyway.
It's about 2 streets away, but yeah, it's in the broad same direction.
Okay, yeah. I mean, what do you both think? Is that a fair
Let's
idea?
do that. That sounds like a plan.
Also,
Seems
it gives
a good
us a
idea,
chance
Rosanna.
to check in and check that nothing terrible's happened.
Okay. You head down towards the Brass Lantern. You can see it's within the latter part of the afternoon. So there's a few labourers in whose shifts have ended earlier than the usual working day for whatever reason. And behind the bar, with a slightly tired look in his face, is Mordecai, wearing his flat cap, gloves, tweed, looking very human. And looks up. All right, how do you? He says as you enter. What can I get for you then?
Could we have 3 ales?
Of course. Pours you 3 ales, charges you 3 copper.
Thank you. Also, we were wondering, as you know, a bar sort who might have heard rumours. Have you heard any rumours of anything funny going on in the night around here?
Any funny deaths?
He lowers his voice a little. Yeah, I've been keeping an eye out for that sort of thing. No funny deaths that I'm aware of. Not last night, although to be honest, I was obviously back home last night. I would say though a lot of the regulars here do tend to, they do live around the area. So the main shift of a lot of the glazers, the master glazers than their apprentices, they work later hours, will be coming in within the next hour or so up until the end of day. So if you want to ask the regulars, that's more the time you should be doing it. They might have seen something, they might have not.
Okay, good to know. We don't really want to wait an hour, do we?
He's more suggesting that, you come back in an hour and then, when the tavern is more full, and then spend some time talking around. But that itself might take an hour.
Maybe we should come back. What do you both think?
Yeah.
In the meantime, is there a cellar or an attic in this place?
Well, there's the beer cellar. I checked it earlier today. There used to be an attic, but it got converted into more rooms, and those have been cleaned today. So, as far as I'm aware, those are all safe. But you're welcome to take a look if you want.
Just in case, is it a bad idea?
I think if it was going to be anywhere, it'd have to be the cellar. If it was going to be the rooms, then there's going to be light coming into that. There's no windows in the cellar,
It
generally.
would have to be the cellar, if he's checked today.
Yeah.
Shall we try a different direction?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try that.
Alright, we'll see you later.
Right. You finish your drinks and head on out.
Yeah. Finish our drinks quickly and head on out.
You've quickly finished down your pints and head on out. Scamp as ever, it has no effect on you.
When does that wear off?
I believe sometime around the 5th of First Flurries.
Okay.
Oh my god, it's the 27th of falling leaves, so we've got a long time to get you in a drinking competition. Oh, right, okay.
So, you head back out onto the street in the New Glazers ward. Where do you guys want to investigate next? By this point, it's around about... I want to say it's about maybe 20 to 4. Because you've done a bit of searching around in the streets, talking to people.
So we have to be back in 20 minutes to get friend. This is all OC, obviously, it's just getting it straight. Do you both want to have a look in the Warrens? That was the place that we didn't go to, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because we went towards Spinner's End when we were following the first two. I think let's try the direction that we didn't get anywhere with.
Okay. So, working your way into the Warrens, how would you like to make your search here?
Should we do the asking around thing, or should we search?
Well, let's have a look at just anywhere the physical features of the terrain were around. If there's alcoves, if there's...
Or even if there's any weird rotten bits. That was a
deep
thing.
doorways, yeah.
Any rotting grass or anything like that.
Yeah, dead stuff, decaying stuff that...
Yeah, dead rats, anything along those
decaying
lines.
things unexpected. Okay, I'm going to ask you for... at your choice, either investigation or nature.
Anyone good at nature?
Yep.
Okay.
Moderately.
Could you make it with our help?
I'll say that as you're assisting with the sort of investigative aspect when checking with Corzin as a reference, yes.
Cool.
Yeah, okay. So, with advantage?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so that's going to be a big fat 10.
Oh, mate.
Okay, searching around...
I rolled an 8 and a 4.
Such a bastard when that happens.
Searching around, you spend the next half hour pushing even into the sort of 40 minutes territory if you need to. You know where you'll be picking up. A friend has said that they will basically hide the skull and wait for you to pick them up. So you search through the Warrens, checking the side streets, checking dark alcoves and alleyways and so on. But while there is a certain degree of rot and decay around here, it seems more byproduct of perhaps the poorer substrate of Crosswater's society, mostly living here. You do notice, as you make your way around, there is here and there the distinctive sort of sickly sort of scent of opium being smoked in various places. And at one point, we were sort of following your nose a bit. You find yourselves passing by a large sort of brewery building to the south, and it seems like there's quite a there's a fairly strong sort of residual scent in this area. The brewery is a very large sort of broadly cylindrical but tapered at the top, almost like a giant beehive in sort of appearance. Brick structure with a blocky extension. There are some chimneys up top where there is just steam gently escaping, and there is also a very strong smell of hops in the area. Like there's an attached stables for the various dray horses that carry out the barrels, and you can see just huge vats of hops of these of hop flowers to supply the beers that are produced here. But there is that sort of undertone as well. Doesn't really point you much towards shadows, but it is something you notice while you're here. And looking around, you do see there is a slightly faded old sign above the entryway to the sort of stables and main entrance area. A sign saying M. McDougall and Family Brewery.
Ah. Okay, good to remember for
Right.
later.
Yes.
However, after nearly an hour of searching, no, it seems that you're not finding any clues within the Warrens, at least not today, not without more evidence piling up of where the shadows that fled this way went. You return to the spot where you dropped off friend, and there's not an immediate sign of him when you emerge, but as you look around, you see just hidden in some nearby brickwork there is the tiny 1-inch silver skull. As you approach, Scamp, you hear in your head, hello boss, friend. Bad luck.
Did you find anything?
No, I searched all around the sewers under here. I feel pretty confident that there aren't any within the Iron Ward, but that's me kind of spent for today. I reckon if you send me down searching somewhere in the sewers or in around an area, I could maybe clear one ward within an hour. So I feel confident that there's nothing under the Iron Ward within the sewers here. But my favour to you isn't fulfilled until I actually find something. So I'll try again tomorrow.
Thank you.
That's all right, friend.
Did you find anything?
No luck.
Shit.
But it means there's nothing in the Iron Ward sewers.
Okay.
And he'll look again somewhere else tomorrow, and we think they're likely to go back to the same place, don't we, if it's safe?
Yes, I mean, that narrows it down, doesn't it?
And we can just keep doing one a day while we look above ground, I guess.
Yes, I mean, we have... What time is it? Sorry, out of character.
By this point, it's now... Yeah, it's pushing It's pushing towards 5 o'clock, definitely.
Okay, we need
we've
to...
got to
we
pay
need to go
that.
and see the boy.
Yeah, we need to pay him. And then, I guess, regroup from there, see where else we can search. Until it gets dark at 6?
Around 6, yeah. And you can see that, the sun is already getting low in the sky now.
We can check the pub, see what rumours there are.
Yeah, so let's pay the boy and then go to the pub.
Okay. So, you head back to the Judgment Square Market, and indeed, still there is the halfling teenager, all of not a bad height for his age, 2 feet tall. I think I said before. Gay Crosswater Sentinel! Ghoul kills 28 in 3-day massacre in Scarl's Cove. He's been talking all day. He's been shouting this all day. And as you've noted, not the best vocal technique by and large. Get your Crosswater Sentinel. Mass murder by shadows in dead of night. 18 dead. The number's gone up. Don't travel alone.
Well, we're going to ask him actually.
We should
Tax
ask
during the day.
him. He'll have rumours.
Yeah.
He goes everywhere. Let's ask him, seriously.
Yeah.
We can pay him more if he wants,
He looks up. Oh, hello again.
Hello. So how's it been going?
Well, I've had some people pretty upset that the story wasn't in the newspaper, so I said it was going to come tomorrow, but it's all right because I've had me and my mates tell a lot of people.
Okay, good. Well, you can have your 10 gold.
Thank you very much.
If you're...
He reaches out for it.
Yeah, okay, I'll give it to him. If you'd like to make
Stuffs
some
it
more...
in his underwear. Oh.
Have you heard any rumours about funny deaths? That kind of thing? I assume you get about, you and your friends. Or anything weird and rotting where it shouldn't be. Funny deaths or rotten things, anything like that.
I heard there's been a rat problem at the granary.
Okay, we know about that. Anything else?
There's the notorious cock strangler. No, they caught him last month. He kept strangling chickens. Can't really think of anything else, but I'll keep an ear out.
Okay. If you see us around and you have any news, we're willing to pay for it, so...
Okay.
Let us know.
He nods and immediately just ditches the last of his papers and scurries off to hide this bounty that you've just given him somewhere.
Aww.
Seriously, this is like several months' wages for him.
Yeah.
He's going to buy so many sweets.
Yep.
He's going to be fat the next time we see him, like 3 days later.
No, come on, he's a teenager. He's going to try and get someone to buy him alcohol.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, he so is.
I mean, I'm just gonna roll for this. One moment. As he goes off, you hear him say, "Oh, I'm gonna visit the silken sail."
Oh god, no! How old is he?
No, Corzin can just see this. He looks like, he's a halfling. Is like the voice is a bit squeaky, but it might be.
I'm thinking 15.
Yeah, 15 at a push. He's clearly pushing his luck a bit there.
I mean, I've saved this in character actually. I mean, the man who runs the Silken Sail will probably let him in. He's so desperate. So, good luck to the lad, I suppose.
Gross.
So gross. So gross. I'm freaked out.
I roll for what he felt like trying his hand at, and he rolled a 2. So
I put my hand on his shoulder as he's walking away and I say, if you're really going to do that, then for the love of the regent, wear a sheath.
okay.
Ah.
We do not condone anything under the age of consent on Flintlocks and Fireballs.
I'd like to confirm that we do not condone anything like that on Flintlocks and Fireballs.
We really don't.
I don't think Corzin does. It's just a case of, well, look, I'm not going to be able to stop him, but for the love of God, I'm not going to let him ruin his life.
Yeah. I think yes, this young newspaper boy is going to have a very disappointing evening.
He's going to be turned away.
So. It's now about 5 o'clock. You've got roughly an hour left of daylight.
Pub.
Okay. You make your way back towards the Brass Lantern, and as promised, the tap room is now thick with various master glazers and journeyman glassworkers and members of other trades as well. There's even a couple of weavers in from Spinner's End, although most of those go to other pubs, and maybe even a couple from of steel workers from the Iron Ward. Who've come in, and there's just all the tavern is thick with custom and activity. There are numerous people here to interrogate if you so wish, although you feel you're probably going to have to buy some drinks to achieve that.
It's fine. I'll buy some drinks.
All right.
Ale.
Okay.
Because we're not actually here to drink, so we're not going to buy anything nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me an investigation check, and I will allow you to make this with your charisma modifier as a base instead of an intelligence one, because you're essentially you're picking for information, but you're also trying to persuade people out of information.
Yeah. So, how do you want me to do this? Do you want me to roleplay what I do, or do you want me to just roll check?
I'd like you to roleplay what you do, and that will influence how the check emerges.
Who looks approachable?
So there's all sorts of people. There's gruff, older-looking men and women. Their hands scarred by years of working by hot glass fires. There's a couple of younger apprentices, some halflings, some human. Their clothes aren't as nice, but they've done the best they can. They're looking ambitious. There's one grizzled old dwarf who you actually recognise from the Iron Ward. He was the dwarf gunsmith whose apprentices were winding the iron barrels and so on. There are a plethora of different characters here, so I'm going to say if there's like a specific socioeconomic bracket that you want to be pushing, or just more like a general buy everyone drinks and ask around,
Should we split up and
maybe we should do one each? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you guys.
I'm going to go for the young ones that are making a bit of an effort with their clothes, because I feel like maybe.
Okay, so you're going for the young ones. Scamp, who do you want to? What sort of area do you want to try and track?
I'll go for the gunsmith, because I can at least talk shop.
Okay.
Also, you're a dwarf, so.
Yes, I am a dwarf.
Okay, and Corzin, what sort of area will you be approaching?
I'm going to be looking for, well, firstly in the other halflings, but also more broadly, I'm going to be looking for anyone who looks a little bit at the low end of the economic scale, because I know for a fact that they are going to be the more vulnerable ones, and they're more likely to be alone, and they're more likely to be preyed on. Okay.
Because of the way this is going, I'm going to do this in turn for each of you. Celestia and Corzin, I will want you to do investigation checks. Scamp, I will roleplay out your encounter, and that will entirely depend on whether the dwarf has seen anything.
Yeah, so you said charisma.
Yes, you can use. You're not proficient in investigation, are you?
Nope.
Okay, so you can make this as a raw charisma check instead of a raw intelligence check.
So I'm going to walk up to the one that looks the fanciest.
Okay. So yes, you look up and it is a. Okay. Yeah. It's a strapping young human lad on this occasion. It's kind of got a bit of it's not pretty good looking as well. They've got that sort of classic lantern jaw to them, but you can see there's the few of the trademark burns mostly on the forearms rather than the hands. You get the feeling that they wear gloves of an apprentice glass worker, and as you approach, you can see that he's already gotten his way through 2/3 of a pint. Looks up and is like, "Oh, hello, darling."
Hi. I like your clothes. I appreciate good taste.
Oh, thank you very much. And you can see that these are he's wearing a relatively new sort of vest and tunic. It's been dyed red, a bit of a flashy colour. Get the feeling this is clearly where most of his wages go.
Showboating.
Yeah, he's showboating.
Yeah.
Really trying to make a name for himself. And you can see there's a small cadre or is it a cadre? I'm not really sure.
I think it's cadre.
Yeah, there's a small cadre of a group of other.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that word before.
Sorry. A group of other apprentices around him, and he very much seems to be the peacock of the group. Thank you very much. They cost a pretty penny, and I may say that's quite the ensemble you've got yourself
I'm
there,
a great
miss.
tailor. I can introduce you sometime.
Oh, well, yeah, perhaps. And
Not that you need it, of course. You're
no,
fantastic.
maybe not then.
Looks like your ale's getting a bit empty. Could I buy you a new one, perhaps?
Oh, well, certainly. Such generosity from one of the Evans.
So I buy him an ale.
Yeah.
Give it to him. It's been a bit of a funny day. I've been hearing some strange rumours about some shadows going on. I don't suppose you've heard anything, have you? I like to take an interest in current affairs, you know.
Kind of takes a moment. You see his brow furrowed in thought. Oh, I heard about... there was the big scare this morning in the market. In Judgment Square.
Yeah, I heard there were some things going on last night as well.
Oh, no. And he looks to his. Have you? Looks to
I
his.
haven't rolled yet.
No, he looks to his glass and drains it and winks to the bar boy. He says, he's just doesn't. He's not actually one of the Grimon. He's just this seems to be hired help. He says, "Oh, we'll have another. She's paying." And after he said that, but no, sir, didn't hear about anything like that last night.
Shame. So I don't get a check. He just doesn't fucking know.
He doesn't
anything.
know, but make a check to ask around about with the
Okay,
other
I'm gonna
apprentices.
flirt with the group a bit.
Yeah.
I compliment something individual. I like, oh, hey, talk to me, like that sort of shit. I compliment something that I notice on each of them, and I ask them the same sort of questions, basically. Shit, bollocks. So what's that charisma?
Yeah.
That is 13. I'm a fucking bard. I can do better than that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's...
I buy everyone drinks, obviously.
You've
as well.
got Jack of all trades, haven't you?
Yeah, but he just wanted a charisma check rather.
Oh
than
no!
a
You're
check.
allowed to.
Well,
You're
it's
allowed
'cause
to add
you're-
your jack because you're making an investigation check, but normally investigation uses intelligence as its base. I'm allowing you to make it with charisma as its base instead.
Okay,
So you can still
so
add
that
half
would be
your.
more.
Yeah, you can still add half your proficiency
So it'd be
bonus.
half proficiency plus charisma. We do maths. That's 15.
Okay, 15. All right. So let me think about that. There's a bit of a nod. Well, one of the less well-dressed ones, seems a bit more down in his luck. It takes a moment to think about this. Actually, now that you mention it, I was visiting my sister last night after work, and it was the strangest things because she lives in the Warrens, and this must have been pretty late last night. I was coming back after I'd been doing some drinking here, and it was the strangest thing. It's like I swear I saw these. It was like two folk running through past a lamppost, but I didn't see the folk. I just saw the shadows.
Just sort of dark.
Yeah, and I saw them turning the corner, and they were heading up through the old the wall, the archway and arches in the city wall, heading up towards the Ironward district. I thought some footpads or something like that, so I didn't really pursue. But both of those. I saw two figures. They seem to be running up north. North from there. Didn't
So
stick
through
around.
the arches to the Ironward.
And looking at your map, you can see that the arch he's talking about is the one near where Jimothy's little crook is,
Okay.
in the western bit of the Ironward.
Cool.
So that's the most helpful information you're able to gather from any of these folk. Unfortunately, it seems that nobody's witnessed any grisly murders or the like yet. Scamp, you make your way over to the dwarven gunsmith. And you can see that he is quietly enjoying a tankard of light relatively light alcohol. It's an imported dwarven. Well, you say imported, made to a dwarven recipe within the city. Dwarven mead, so only 30% proof.
Only.
He
Smooth.
he looks up as you approach.
Just gonna sit next to him and sort of nod,
He
and then get the attention of a bartender person.
Yeah. The bar boy comes round as you approach. Yes. Will it be? He looks at your beard, sir, judging based on the lack of beard ornaments.
Of what he's having? Another drink, and I'll buy him one too.
He looks up, gives you a solemn nod. That'll do, and it's because it's mead, but it's dwarven mead. You do pay 4 coppers for this for both of them, as it brings out this nice sort of big old pint of what you fondly imagine to be very strong alcohol. At the moment, it just tastes like kind of honey, like sort of strongish honey.
Sounds really good.
Sounds delicious. Yeah.
Yeah. The dwarf in question sort of nods in thanks as it approaches, finishes, drains the rest of his mead, moves on to the next one.
Gotta sit there in silence for a moment and drink.
There's a drink. New to town, boyo?
Yeah. There's some weird stuff going on today. Don't really know what I make of it.
By the way, this whole conversation, I realise I neglected to mention it, but he does actually greet you in Dwarvish initially as well.
I'm also speaking in Dwarvish as best I can, which is a little bit dodgy.
He looks up, does his head. That's the truth. Bit of a strange accent you've got there.
Yeah, I grew up with halflings.
He nods solemnly, takes another sip of his ale. So what brings you to town?
Looking for work, but all this strange death's happening. I don't know if I'll stick around.
Takes a sip
You
of that.
heard anything like that?
I heard a thing or two. If I was you, I'd stay out of the Warrens. The McDougalls. They killed 3 watchmen this last week.
Oh, well, that happens everywhere. I'm talking about shadows.
Takes another draft, nods. Aye, who knows what shadows lie in the hearts of man and dwarf.
Well,
This is so unhelpful.
someone said there was like literal shadows killing.
Takes a nod. I did see something a bit strange today when those watchmen shot that lady. But I thought it was just some wizard having fun. Takes a sip. I'm afraid I can't help you with any talk of shadows. Shadows, boyo. But if there's anything you want to know about town, well, since you're a newcomer, be sure to ask. The name's Olon, by the way. Olon Coxwatcher.
Scamp tries really hard not to giggle. Nope, giggles. Totally giggles.
What did you do? A wisdom saving throw?
Just a straight D20. But, yeah.
His brows furrow. Something funny there, boyo.
Oh God.
I knew a similar name person who was very different to you. Just contrast. Yeah.
Takes another sip of his mead. You carry on having a very awkward conversation with this dwarf. If there is any information you would like to ask him about the city in general, you can, but otherwise it swiftly becomes
Not
apparent
that I
that he
can
doesn't
think
really
of.
know much.
Yeah, I might just buy him another drink and leave.
Yeah, you pay another 2 coppers. No, I rolled a 7 for whether he had any actually useful information. Okay.
Balls.
But hey, you now know a dwarf in town. Should you need a dwarven gunsmith for any reason. Corzin, roll me a gather information check. Up to you whether you want to make this intelligence or charisma based.
It would be the same either way, really, because my modifier for both is 1.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. 10.
Okay. You have a bit of a conversation with the various poorer folk and the halflings in the tavern, which are not by and large. It varies as to whether those are the same people. In fact, most of the halflings are actually a number of the halflings are artisan glassworkers who are doing moderately well for themselves. It's not an industry that height and physical strength make that much of a difference in. But the poorer folk are actually mostly humans, apprentices and such. And while most of them don't have much information, you do end up talking to a weaver girl from over in Spinner's End. She, after quite a dull series of chats about how those the more upscale textile merchants in Weaver's Ward will put these home weavers out of business with their factories and such, and the new fabric mills that are popping up, and how these infernal steam powered pumps are going to be a problem one day. They're already starting to make their way out of the mines where they belong and come into factories. That aside, you do hear one of them does mention that there was this. Oh dear, yes. There was of course old Nana Crossbones. She was. She was. Well, she used to be a great weaver, they told us, back in the day, but then the rheumatism crept in, and they found her in her bed, and we all just assumed she'd passed away of old age. But from what you said, when they did found, because I was there when they carried her out, and it looked like under the sheets, like she had her hands frozen in place, clutched around her heart. And one of them did say that she was very cold when they found her.
Where was this?
Well, that was, and she points towards just one of the. Well, she doesn't point, but she gives you directions towards a house in one of the back streets of Spinner's End. That was they found her this morning. But that's the only thing that's even remotely like what you describe. I mean, of course, I heard about the whole ruckus earlier today in the Saints Market, with that shadowy creature showing up, and then that horse's head exploded from terror.
Yes, terror.
Nasty business, that. But this old woman, was she Was she also a halfling, or was she human, or what?
Oh no, she was human, so not that old, by normal people's standards, only in her 70s.
Right. I'm gonna think back to the shadows that we tangled with in the silo. There was a female one of those.
Yeah, the one in the dress.
Make an intelligence check.
Okay. 14.
Ooh.
That one seemed a little spry for an old woman. Like, and something about the silhouette seemed to resemble more of a young woman than an old woman.
Fair enough. Okay. Just trying to eliminate all possibilities.
No, not a bad shout. So I guess we finish our awkward drinks and meet up at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thank the person I'm speaking to very much for that time.
Oh, thank you for the drinks.
It's the least I can do. Hopefully we can get to the bottom of this.
Oh, yes. Poor old Mother Crossbones. You
hear me go, I really do love that jacket, by the way, over my shoulder, and then I come over and go, guys, they're so boring. Oh God.
Yeah.
So boring.
Both Corzin and Celestia, you've spent about a silver piece on various drinks.
Cool.
Okay, noted.
But yeah, by this time you look out through the thick sort of glass, slightly uneven glass windows of the tavern, and yeah, the lights have faded. Sunset is upon you. The last lights of dawn, or the last lights of dusk.
I relay what I found out about the ones that went through the arches in the Iron Ward towards Timothy.
Okay, I also relay that we have a lead, at least, towards Spinner's End.
Should we go there and look for shadowy places?
Yeah, should we go there first? I mean, it is dark. Is it worth doing it now? Or should we go and scry now? I suppose that's recent. It might be worth chasing the lead. Do you know which house it was?
Not exactly, but we've got a decent area. The point being, we'd have to go to the university to get someone who can scry, right?
Yes.
Well, it is broadly speaking on our way if we just take a slight detour down towards the Glazers ward.
I mean,
yes,
you're already in New Glazers Ward, so...
Oh, so we're literally...
In which case, yeah, we just pop across the bridge, go through Spinner's End, have a look around, continue up through Weaver's Ward.
And then go to the university, yeah.
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 Cool.
Okay. So, you do so, leaving the brass lantern behind. Mordecai, or as he's known here, John Smith, gives you a nod as you... companionable nod as you leave.
I cock my tricorn to him.
I give him a theatrical bow.
Yeah. So, as you make your way out, yes, indeed, the sun has, the sun, the last of the golden disk of the sun has set beneath the sky, and there's just a fading light of dusk. Already, traffic is, there's still a lot. There's still a few there are lanterns lit within the Judgment Square market. People are still doing business at this hour, and they'll probably continue for another hour or two to try and get the most out of their wares. But there is a slightly nervous look, and as you make your way through, you do notice there are a couple. There are maybe about. Yeah, you do pass 2 or 3. Patrols of pairs of watchmen on patrol. It seems that whether because they've taken the threat seriously or they want to maintain a presence to put people at ease, there are a few more watchmen out tonight than there otherwise would be. So you cross over the bridge, cross the cross. Once again across the footbridge and head into Spinner's End, which, while not as dilapidated as the Warrens, you get the feeling is more of a low-income sort of area. There's a lot more... The terraced houses here are more tightly... when I say tightly sandwiched together, they are literally narrower. You get the feeling that a lot of these are like those classic houses you get where there's one room stacked one on top of the other and a narrow stairway in between. These are functionally slums meant to pack in as many people as possible.
Yeah, I'm like imagining those Victorian red brick terrace houses.
Yeah.
Really close to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
What
there was
kind
a
of
fire,
fabric do they make?
They primarily primarily they weave a mixture of flax and cotton, both of which are not flax and cotton, flax and wool. There is a lot of wool which is produced in some of the hillier parts of Brighthall, particularly those near the mountains to the south. Which are then shipped by river barge down to the city where they are spun, and it seems that the textiles industry is actually quite a large proportion of the economy of Crosswater. But again, there are also numerous flax fields and the like which get spun, and so flax is spun here as well.
Because I learnt a lot about linen this week, because I went to Belfast. And you need a lot of water to weave linen.
wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
and this much water. This much water is
stay
easily
damp.
available.
Yeah,
D&D
so
goes to
it's
some weird
really,
places.
it's really bad for the people making it, because they're working in water the whole time, so their feet are constantly wet.
Oh god, that's
Oh,
horrible.
right. Trench foot. Yeah.
Oh,
And you can
terrible.
see that along the edges of Spinner's End there are a series of carefully regulated water mills that have been set up along that side of the river, and they are regulated to allow the passage of barges and river traffic, but they do help towards getting some of that water up and being easily available to the various needs of the spinners there. But yes, you get the feeling that this is as sections go, this area is lower income. It's more cottage weaving than or else the places where the factory workers of the more upscale weavers' ward live, because the rent is cheap, although still overcharged for what they're getting. So, how do you want to conduct your search here?
I mean, we could pretend we knew the old lady. Want to pay our respects to the family, although that might be a bit grim.
We need to know where it is she lived, which we don't currently.
We could just ask find where she was, and then search the area, because it's not likely to still be in the house.
Unless they have a really good basement. But then other people would be dead, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, even then, there's going to be a lot of people going in and out when someone dies.
Yeah, you're right, actually. Somebody else would have died, wouldn't they?
If she died during the night, the shadow could have got out and gone anywhere.
Yeah, so we just look around
Should
the
we
area.
look for rotten stuff again?
Yeah.
Let's find the house and sort of span out from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have directions to the house, to the street in question, so it's not hard for you to get there. Around how much time are you willing to spend searching?
Well, what time is it currently?
It's currently about 20 past, towards 6:30. It's not. It doesn't. It hasn't
dark,
taken. Yeah, but it's dark now. The sun is completely set, and you are operating. To be honest, only the main streets are lit by torchlight. Yeah, but not by torchlight, but by oil lamps in Spinner's End. Most people who want to travel to and from home will carry just a simple candle lantern with them, and something which will probably be with greased paper or parchment to serve as a translucent protection against wind. So,
I think if we were to dedicate maybe an hour, it's still not crazy late to go to the university.
I was thinking
but
an
much
hour.
beyond 8,
Yeah,
we're
an
gonna
hour sounds good.
we're gonna be running the risk of
Not getting
getting
anyone.
getting people out of bed even.
Okay. Okay, so starting at the house itself, and you can see, the doors are shut. There's if the family was conducting some sort of wake, they're not doing it at this hour, or in the house itself. But starting from there, you have a place to begin searching outwards. So, are you sticking together as
Yes.
one group?
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely.
Okay. In which case,
Yep.
I'm going to ask you to nominate someone for investigation check with
I
advantage.
guess me, because I'm stupidly the best at investigation.
Do you have a plus
Jack
2?
of all trades.
Yeah.
Literally, because Jack of all trades, I'm still shit otherwise. Oh, I dropped
Off
one.
the table.
One's off the table. Hang on.
That's all right.
Oh, I rolled 2 17s. That's really weird.
Nice.
So it's actually a 19.
19. Okay. So, all right. Let's see what stage this would be at. Okay. So, you begin the process of searching through the area. What light sources, if any, are you using, or are you doing this with the 2 dark vision capable members doing the bulk of the work?
Ooh, yeah.
I'd say light source if we can.
No.
Let's light some torches so that it looks normal, because I don't want to
Also, just for practicality's sake, you being able to see in the dark is all well and good, but it's not going to stop the shadows from having a place to jump out at you.
No, you're quite right. I think, let's light some torches.
As much light as you can.
Yeah, I don't want to be walking around with
Yeah.
dancing lights in the streets because people will look.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think a torch each.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're lighting your torches, which for the moment we're operating on Hollywood torch rules, so you don't have to replace them every half hour.
Yay!
I will say that one torch will, like slight Hollywood torch rules. You're going to use up a torch
Cool.
each, I'll say,
Yep.
during the course of this hour. So thank goodness you're not using them indoors. It'd be so smoky.
Yeah.
So you're searching your way. Okay, so you're using your torches. You're scanning the areas, and you're just looking through. You're looking for signs of rot and decay, anything within Spinner's End that might indicate the ongoing presence of shadows. Half an hour passes. 40 minutes. 50 minutes. Your search is you're beginning to feel there's a certain futility, but you are methodically starting at that central point and working your way outwards through each of the streets, searching for anything you can. You actually end up on the other side of Spinner's End, so quite close towards the outer city wall, in one of those side streets. When I'm going to ask each of you for a perception check.
Okay.
Ugh.
Fuck.
19.
4.
5.
Okay.
Emily! No kidding. I feel like that's what's happening. We're both so useless.
We spot each other.
Oh,
Ah!
Okay.
Oh, it's
Down the... Let me just see this. Okay. Okay. Corzin,
Yep.
you just hear from one of the narrow alleyways between 2 buildings.
Okay, I whip around and look in that direction.
Okay. It's so you'll need to get in front of the alleyway to look, but you rush over there and holding out your torch up to give just a little bit of light, and just barely illuminated by the dim lights extending out from the torch, you can see that there seems to be there is a male halfling weaver, probably by the looks of it someone low class, who pressed up against a wall, and this tall shadowy figure in what looks like an old nightgown, like the silhouette of an old nightgown, has its hand around this. Actually, not even around this halfling's throat, pressed into it. And you can see that their skin has already gone pale and white from, it seems, almost lack of blood.
Okay, I yell, "Over here!" And I get in. I'm immediately drawing my weapons to cut this thing down.
Okay, roll initiative, please.
Shit.
Oh.
19.
11.
8.
Okay, so Core 11 and Celestia 8 and the Shadow. Okay. What's your dexterity, Scamp?
2.
Oh, roll me a d10, a d20.
3.
Cool. Okay, so that makes it. Okay, so Corzin, you are first. The shadow's about 20 feet away from you. Hand stretched, hand plunged into this halfling's throat. And it seems to have noted your presence, but that's all. It's not had time to react yet.
Right. Okay. This is human-sized, isn't it?
Yes. It appears to be a shadow of some sort of female human.
All right. I'm going to run over there and I'm going to attempt to cut through this shadow at the wrist, so that it's severed from this halfling.
Okay, make your attack.
Okay.
Nice.
That's going to be 17 with the first one.
That hits. Roll damage.
Ooh, 10.
Nice, and that's particularly with the dishonor with death as well. Yep. So the scimitar goes through the wrist, and you can see the hand and the front part of the wrist dissolve entirely, and the halfling seems to get his breath back.
Okay, I move myself between the halfling and it and go in for a stabbing wound to where the gut would be.
Okay, you shove the halfling out of the way because he's pressed right against the wall. And I'm gonna stab in with the normal cutlass. Make your attack roll, please.
Oh, that's a dirty 20.
Oh, nice. Roll damage.
Another 10!
Okay.
I crit both those attacks.
Yes, well done.
Oh, there. Okay, so the as you stab it in the gut, its whole form seems to quiver for a moment, particularly as you wrench the blade out. Its form is just barely now almost entirely diminished. There's only a fraction of it left, and it seems to use what little strength it has just to regenerate the image of its hand. The shadow seems to turn its head towards dishonor, as if it can perceive it in a more real way than anything else around it.
I hold it up in front of me, like as a almost like as a talisman, but also like that's the thing I am on guarding it with.
Yeah. Okay. It is going to step suddenly and quickly out of your reach, so it's disengaging.
Okay.
And it is going. Actually, is it going to disengage? No. These guys have to. Yeah. It's going to disengage, and it's going to try and just run at its full speed down the far end of the alleyway, ignoring its prey. It moves 40 feet total, so I'm going to say it gets around the other end of the alleyway and turns left and manages to break line of sight with you. Moment. Okay. Next up, it is Scamp.
Can I get into that alleyway, or is it going to be a dash?
The alleyway, I'm going
or
to...
into sight of it, at least.
Into sight of it. Okay, so I'm just going to state, because it was in the middle of the alleyway before, which was 20 feet from where Corzin started. So the whole alleyway is 40 feet long. So you can only move 30 feet, so you'd need to dash to reach the end of the alleyway to look round the corner.
Not much else to do, so I'll do that.
Okay. Dashing to the end of the alleyway, using up 40 of your 60 feet of movement. Give me a perception check, please.
Ooh, 18.
Okay, you can see that the shadow has flattened itself against a wall, so that it's blending in partially with the natural shadows cast by the sort of dim reflected light off the clouds. But you can still make out where it is.
Can I get into melee of it and pretend I don't see it?
Yes. Yeah, I'll say you can. Whether you can pretend that convincingly is a different question. Roll me a deception check.
19.
Okay, you move right up next to it, and it doesn't seem to react as if it's seen that you've seen it. So you are right next to it now. Okay, so Celestia.
So I've seen where this has gone.
Yep.
I've seen where Scamp's gone after it.
Yep.
And yeah, I need to dash as well, don't I, to get to it, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to dash as well.
Okay, you dash out, maybe give me a
And
perception
just try
check.
and get sight of it.
I mean, yeah, you don't really need a perception check. Scamp is standing right next to it, so you can see, based on where Scamp is, you just look to the left and go, oh, I see why you're there.
And it's not very far away, yeah?
Yeah. So it's basically, yeah, it's like 20 feet away from the end, and you have enough movement to get into melee with it if you want to.
I'm going to leave off doing anything else then.
Okay,
I was thinking about doing an inspiration thing, but
that's
I don't
fine.
think I'm
You
going
are
to.
20 feet away from the shadow now. Corzin, you are, at this point, the halfling, seeing what's going on, scrambles to his feet and just runs out the opposite side of the alleyway. He is just pegging for it after the horrifying experience he's had.
I yell after him, "Get home and make sure all the doors are bolted."
Oh, that'll help.
And yeah, assuming he's fine, or at least I can't do anything for him, I am going to use my dash action to get around the corner.
Yeah. You don't actually need to dash to get around the corner. You can get around the corner, though not within melee of the creature with your 25 feet of movement. You're about 15.
Okay.
You're 15 feet away from it, Celestia, from it and Scamp, and right next to Celestia.
Yeah. Oh. Because I mean, if I don't need to dash, I could use the blunderbuss, but that's a bit wasteful. Also loud.
Also,
so loud.
Scamp would definitely be within the blast radius for that.
Oh, I wasn't going to use a.
Oh, right, yeah,
shot.
actually,
I
no,
was
with
gonna
a
use
slug,
but
yeah. That's also.
I'm not a crazy madman.
Well.
Mostly. But no, okay. Having turned the corner and presumably seeing where this thing is, I focus in my attention on it and say to it, "Nowhere to go."
Okay. Are you doing anything else?
No, I'm gonna try and I'm gonna wait and see if it scarpers again. But I'm also actually, if it's possible, I'm gonna position myself. I know I can't get into melee, but I'm gonna try and position myself so as to close off any exits it has.
If you're not using your action, you can get into melee.
Yeah, you can dash.
Actually, yeah, okay. In which case, I will dash and I will get to the other side of it, so that Scamp's on one side, I'm on the other. It has to pass one of us in order to get away.
Okay, you do just that. The shadow again is going to sort of duck and dive to try and get away from you. It is going to use the disengage action again, and it runs past you, Corzin. So it gets. I'm going to roll a luck check for it. Are there any alleyways it can get to? No. Okay, it runs 40 feet down the street, but it hasn't had another chance to try and hide yet, and breaks line of sight with you. So it is 40 feet from I'm going to say 45, 45 feet from Scamp, 40 feet from Corzin, and 60 feet from Celestia.
Cool.
Okay, speaking of which, it is Scamp's go.
So this thing looks severely weakened.
It is barely visible.
Okay, let's do something that'll definitely hit then. Frostbite. So it's a con save. Just stick out my hand and lots of ice.
It's, that's not melee, is it? It's just within a certain range?
60 feet.
Fantastic. So Constitution save. No. Is the short answer to that. So roll damage.
3.
Okay, a silhouette of ice crystals appears on the wall where it's reflected. It seems to be plastered against. It holds there for a moment in this perfect silhouette of an old woman in her nightdress.
Oh, creepy.
And then the crystals fade. Nothing remains.
Well, that was horrible.
One down at least.
Yes,
But not the one that created it. That could still be in the area.
definitely. We should
No.
We should keep looking for a little bit. Not for too long.
Agreed.
I do want to scry today. We can't go the day without doing that.
You've
But
successfully put old Mother Crossbone's shadow to rest.
I'm so glad that guy didn't die.
Yeah, I'm gonna
know.
walk. Actually, I'm gonna walk out the alleyway, look around to see if I can see the retreating footsteps. I doubt I will. But it's just a case of,
He has double dashed all the way home.
good.
well, okay, fine. He's gonna be safer there than he is here.
He's obviously a sensible
Is he?
sort.
That woman died in bed.
We should really. I mean, people are going to work out that you need to put the lights on at some point, aren't they?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Should we have another look round here,
Yeah.
just in case?
And try and figure out maybe where they came from. See if there's anywhere that'd be a good hiding spot.
Okay, give me another investigation check with advantage.
Again, I'll do it. 'Cause,
How much more time
Yeah.
are you willing to spend? Because you spent almost a full hour now.
I'm not willing to spend more than 20 minutes or half an hour, personally.
Yeah, see the
Give
hour
it
out.
half
Cool,
an hour.
go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we finished the hour.
Yeah, fine.
Ooh, that's good. That's a 19 again.
Okay. Searching through. You spend another 20 minutes searching around this sort of area. You don't find any more shadows, but in one alleyway, a little bit further north from here, still within the general area of Spinner's End, you do find the body of a young human girl, hands clutched to her chest, pale, cold.
Shit.
Saints, damn it.
How quickly do the shadows come out of them?
Well, we saw with the homeless guy
Pretty fast.
almost immediately.
How
Although,
long has she
I
been
can-
dead? Can you tell?
Can I make a medicine check?
Yes. Make a medicine check, please.
11.
No more. Probably no more than an hour or so.
Alright.
Oh,
I
it's
mean-
so hard not to metagame when I know these creatures.
Yeah.
You've not done so
Well,
far.
look. If they could all do this immediately as soon as they were created, we'll be up to our eyeballs in it already. There's got to be some amount of time when a new one is created before it can make another one of itself. We've got to get
before
it in that
wants
window.
to, I suppose, yeah.
So, is there a chance that this one's not out there yet?
Emerged, almost certainly, yes, it has by now, but it
Why
can't
not?
be far from here. That's. I mean, where are we in in relation to where we were?
If you'd known where to go and you'd walked straight, you're probably about 4 minutes walk, like in a direct line from where you were.
All right.
So you're still within Spinner's End, but you're on the sort of more northern bit of Spinner's End.
Have we seen any guards while we've been doing this?
A few, but they've only been going down the main streets. This area is not as well patrolled as others, even with the heightened patrols.
Right, what I'm going to suggest then is... Alright, it's not going to help anybody if we're found here over this corpse, but let's check around the immediate area.
Should we get someone, tell the watch?
Well, they're going to find her sooner or later anyway. There's nothing we can do for her now.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I don't think it's going to help anyone if we get called in for questioning for hours. We don't have that kind of time.
No. Let's just search around the immediate area, make sure it hasn't hidden away in some doorway or something somewhere.
Okay.
That's the best we can do for now.
Try and make sure it's clear, and then we've got to go and scry.
Okay. You find a suitable doorway to prop her up in, and making your peace with the situation, you move on. There is a cold atmosphere that follows you as you make your way up the main street through the Weaver's Ward, past the rather nicer sort of still solidly middle class townhouses in the area, and past the larger factories where the various looms and factory mills are producing more industrial quantities of textiles. But
is that cold unseasonal?
No, it is.
Okay.
It is late autumn.
Fair enough.
Normal cold. Good question, though.
It's honestly hard to tell whether this is just the coming winter, or whether it's the coming winter, a supernatural influence, or quite possibly you're just feeling very unnerved after your experiences.
Yeah.
But with another 10-15 minutes of walking, you'll make your way to the University of Crosswater. The majority of the grounds are open grass, which now appear dark and foreboding, as they're mostly as they're not really well lit at night. Although the streets and the paving surrounding these open grasslands and the walkways within are lit at regular intervals with standing oil lamps. So the university itself is quite well lit, by and large. You can see that within there are three sort of main buildings. A large sort of domed cupola type building off towards the northern end. To the southern end, more of a classic sort of what looks almost like a manor house or mansion with two wings. And a building built in the old sort of Tyrian style with lots of colonnades and a rising tall sort of blocky white tower, kind of,
What is
Tower
a
of Gold.
colonnade?
Like a selection of columns.
Oh, okay,
Like
cool.
one of those open-fronted type affairs.
Yeah, thank you for asking that. I wasn't sure.
And it might be colonnades, I'm not really sure. My pronunciation...
I always read it as colonnades, although I've never known what it meant, so where I've read
You
it, I don't
know, that's one of those things when you read a word. I think it might be colonnade. I'm not sure.
I don't know, one of those.
Yeah, never make fun of someone for mispronouncing a word. It meant they learnt it reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, you there are actually there's a large sort of central square with a fountain, and it's not hard to get directions towards the more magically inclined side of the building of the campus. In fact, it is the more manor house looking of the three main buildings. As you make your way there, it's easy enough again to get directions to the divinations department. And as luck would have it, the professor of divination is actually still in their office. They've finished up lectures and such for the day and seem to be busy doing whatever work that they busy themselves with. But one of the students who's been helping them out assures you that after inquiring with her, Professor Catchment will actually be willing to see you. She shows you towards Catchment's office, where, and upon opening the door, you find a slightly crowded office. It's not that it's that small, but there are a lot of shelves here with all manner of books and various miscellaneous objects, and a lot of the strange sort of metallic tools that wizards tend to use have been stacked in various locations. A little haphazardly at times. It seems that things are more organised the less they're used. So the tools are less rigorously put into neat positions, whereas some of the books are in pristine order. And you can see that working at a desk, writing in some papers, there is a female human with looks to be in maybe her late 40s or early 50s. She's got auburn hair streaked with grey, tied up in a bun, and is wearing a practical sort of light reddish dress, sort of russet, I want to say. So that's more an orangey, russet sort of dress, but over which is a waistcoat full of there's probably about 6 pockets on it in various locations. She's obviously someone who likes to have tools available on hand whenever she needs them. She looks up as you enter. Ah, yes, you were the guests.
Yes, that's right. We heard you might be able to do some scrying for us.
Well, it's a bit late, but yes, I suppose that's doable. If you'd like to, please come in. Hansworth, she says to the student, could you see if there's any of the tea left in the urn? It would be nice to give some for our guests. And the student nods and moves off to see if there's any tea available still. Draw yourself a chair, would you? And you can see that there are about 5 mismatched stools, small benches, chairs that has been dragged into her office at various points.
Corzin finds the smallest one.
Celestia finds the fanciest one.
The fanciest one and the smallest one are actually one and the same. It's a very ornately done little halfling chair. But I'm
not going to sit in the halfling chair.
But the second nicest one is suitable for those of more human size.
I would like to try and sit in it before she can.
Both of you make a dexterity check.
Oh,
we're such assholes. Like, there's some really urgent shit going on. I want to sit in the cool chair. Oh god.
Corzin's just fed up of sitting in the chair that his legs don't reach the end of.
But yours is reasonable, ours isn't. Mine was a 7, so Scamp gets in the chair first.
Scamp, you seat yourself in position.
Sit on whatever chair's left.
Okay, there is perplexingly an old rocking chair.
I sit in the rocking chair and rock forebodingly.
There are some chairs that Corzin would literally have to jump to get into.
Oh, yeah. Most chairs. Most of them.
Oh.
I imagine he's proficient in chair jumping by now.
Oh, yeah.
So, Sandy says, right, well, it's been some time since I've done scrying, but what is the going rate for that these days?
I mean...
10 gold!
She narrows her eyes at you.
No, that sounds wrong. I don't know.
Depends what you'd be willing to do it for.
I believe that it's I think it's about 200 these days. Yes, that seems about right.
I mean, I'll pay that. I mean, I can't pay all of it. Are you guys willing to
I
split?
can give you some.
Yeah, I'm in for that.
Brilliant. Okay, so out of character maths, 66, 66 and 67? Is that right?
Yep.
Because if it's 33
yeah,
for
that sounds
100,
right.
then surely,
Yep.
maybe,
Yeah.
help.
Yeah. No,
That's
good logic.
I'll pay 67 because, yeah. I'll pay
60. It's 66, 67, and 67.
I'll pay one of the 67s. Whatever.
I'll do the other.
Awesome.
Okay.
Are you sure? Okay.
So that would be.
So this mirror that she gets out appears to be made of polished metal, but it's not silver. It's some sort of other metal. And surrounding it, there are a number of small sort of dials, little wooden dials made to freely rotate, but they don't seem to be operating hidden machinery. Rather, on each one is positioned a different sort of metal shaped in a different way. A couple seem to have what appear to be stones carved in certain ways, even a couple of gemstones. And it seems that they all serve some sort of purpose, although you're not really sure what. She takes the large mirror and sets it down. Okay, so the thing that you, or person that you need scrying.
Her name is Olga Gristlegums.
Oh,
Is that enough?
I mean, it's a place to begin. Do you have anything that belongs to her, or do you have a faithful painting or representation?
If something belonged to her, is that okay?
Yes, if it was a personal item of some sort.
I've got this snow globe.
Please be careful with it, though.
Okay. No.
It makes snow.
She picks up the snow globe. Okay, that's fine. I'll yes, this is a curious thing. All right. Well, I'll make sure to treat this with care. The scrying doesn't consume this, so it's not too much of a trouble. Still, though, having something that belonged to them does make this a little easier. Okay, so
Is there anything else that would make this easier?
I mean, unless you have something which was literally part of their body.
Nope.
I don't think so.
Yeah. When trying to scry on a thing, the main problem is that you get quite a lot of interference. What the spell does is it sort of sends out a call to certain parts of the world which are set up for this, and searches for things that match what I'm looking for. So the problem is if I'm just going by name, then I get everyone called Olga and possibly everyone with the surname as well. And if I have a possession, that helps me narrow it down.
Because you have two things to go on.
Yes.
That makes sense.
So it makes it a lot easier. So, okay, takes the mirror and begins to adjust certain knobs in certain ways while muttering a quite repeated chant to herself. It's not necessarily clear whether the chant... The chant seems to be almost made up of nonsense syllables. This seems to be more to do with calibration or just the sounds rather than the words that seems to have an effect. But she places the crystal ball in the centre... Well, not crystal ball, but the snow globe in the centre, makes some calibrations based on it, and then puts it to one side. And you can see as she's sort of looking into something that you can't quite see, and her eyes flicker from side to side as she's muttering, like she's going through various different things. After about 10 minutes of this... Okay, yes, okay, I'm getting something. So I'm seeing looks like an old woman. She seems to be wearing some sort of scarf around her mouth and nose. She's wearing an old travel cloak. There's someone else with her, shorter figure, also hooded, wearing the same sort of mouth and nose mask. I can't get a very good look at them. They look like they might could be a tall halfling or a small human child. They are... It looks like they're in a town. They're moving. On the edges of a town. There's snow falling. Light snow, but it's built up a bit around. There's snow on the ground. Looks like it might have been falling for... If it's been falling at that rate, it'll be for most of the day. She's... Okay, she's stopped. Seems to be looking around. Okay, she's moving onwards, fiddling with something under her shirt. Okay, she's making her way towards I want to say a barn, or no, it looks more like a barracks. Yes, or a dormitory. There's a couple of guards nearby. They're wearing they're wearing a deep green uniforms. They have muskets. They don't seem to have noticed her. She's sneaking around the side. She's the smaller figure is holding back. Okay, they're taking something out of a satchel. It looks like a small case filled with little slots, I want to say, or compartments. There's about 12 of these compartments. Most of them are empty. There's 3 things in them. She's taking one of them out. It looks like I want to say an egg, or no. It's more like a little blue globe, like the snow globe you've got. But it looks almost like the outside is like a bird's egg. It's bright blue and it's speckled. It's about the size of a plum. Okay, she's taking that. She's leaving the box with the small figure, and she's moving into the side of the barracks. I can see she's done something to the lock, and the door is opening. She's making her way up through, it looks like a servant's, or no, but it's the kitchen. There's nobody in. Up the stairs, and it looks like there's a shift of people, maybe soldiers, who are asleep. None of them she hasn't woken any of them up. She's placing the little blue egg in the center of the room, and she's leaving. Okay, she's backing out of there, closing the door after her. She's gone back out. She's relocking the door, it would seem. And she's met up with the little figure, and they've moved away. No one seems to have noticed. They've moved a couple of streets away, and she's doing something, and she's clicking her fingers. There was this horrible, gut-wrenching wail from, I guess, from the barracks. There sounds like more of a tumult. People are waking up. That felt like daggers in my heart. That scream. Okay, they're making their way out of town. It looks like they have, they have somewhere prepared. They're going to a small courtyard with what looks like a large bird, maybe, waiting for them. It seems to have a saddle, and she's fiddling with something under her shirt. She's pulling it out. It looks like something on a leather thong around her neck, like an eye, maybe. She's looking at something. I can't see what she's looking at because it's behind where the sensor is. She's looking at me. She's looking directly at me. What are those? No! And you see her suddenly flinch back from the divining apparatus, and she begins clawing at her own face and her chest and her body as if she's trying to get something off. And you see blood is starting to leak from her nose and her ears.
Shit, I'm going to go over to her and try and rouse her from whatever's going on.
Okay. So yeah, that's going to be. I don't even know. Make a charisma check.
Okay.
Try and pull
charisma?
the mirror-y thing away.
14.
Yeah.
Okay, you pull the mirror away. You try and just shake her, get some sense into her. It's going to give her advantage on the save, which is good. As you slap her and kind of shake her, she blinks, and wait, no, it's okay. They're not real. They're not real.
What did you see?
What happened?
She could see me. She could see me. You're not supposed to be able to see someone, and she sent something back through the connection. They looked like demons, horrible biting things, but they were an illusion. I've faced those before in the field. They're not real. Not real.
So I'm going to take her by the shoulders and just be like, okay, look at me, breathe.
She is visibly shaking, but she makes eye contact with you.
Yeah. Look at me, don't think about anything else. Just look here. It's done, it's over.
I'm going to put a sweet in her hand.
Would you like a drink?
I think she's bloody well earned one after that.
Yes. She
I
takes it.
pour her a drink. I assume I have a cup.
Yeah, there are some teacups actually, which were brought in with some green
large
tea.
Teacup of dwarven whiskey.
Yeah, so gulps a bit.
Oh, sorry, it's dwarven. I should have warned you. I apologise.
That's alright.
Some more sweets.
She kind of sucks on a sweet, cups
Corzin
the
thinks
dwarven
for a
whiskey
moment.
with some tea so that she can drink it, sip some.
Green uniforms.
And snow.
Meadmere.
Is that Meadmere?
That is indeed,
Meadmere.
the standard colour for Meadmere's uniforms.
Would it be cold enough this time of year for it to snow?
It is to the north, so depending on where you are, and it's almost cold enough to snow here. She is sort of, and you can see, I don't know if she ever actually introduced her first name, but Sandy, the professor, is sort of gently huddled over the tea and whiskey.
I'm sorry, we weren't expecting her to be able to do that.
You can't do that. You can't see back through a connection. It's one way. There's ways to detect if you're being scryed on and stop the scrying sensor, but you can't, or allow it if you want to be observed. But there is no way to send a spell back through a scrying sensor. Not in anything I ever learned of or saw.
Evidently, she thought of that. She's a crafty bitch.
She is. I really am sorry we didn't
She
know.
must have known it was only a matter of time before we tried this.
Fucking hell.
No, you don't understand. Something like that, whether that's something she has or something she's able to do, that is power.
Wait.
I mean, it's a
Wait
bit
a minute.
of a shot in the dark, but she has a lock of my hair. She couldn't be looking through it because I'm here, could she?
No.
She wouldn't be able to send a spell like that back on me.
Corzin, what
The
were you
snow
saying?
globe itself, she was reversing. She could see through that snow globe. That snow globe used to be hers. It's now, functionally speaking, Scamp's.
Could it be that they're linked?
Sandy.
It's possible, but it's in our possession. She could have, if she can use anything that that she once owned in order to describe, then that's going to be it.
I don't know, but if you give me a minute, I'll take a look at the globe and see if I can identify anything about it.
Okay, you take your time.
Worth it.
She sort of waves a hand as if dismissing your objections, picks up the globe and takes a few more tools from her shelf, begins to set them around it, mumbles quietly to herself. You can see she's doing a much more accelerated version of the ritual that the diviner back in Bulwark's Bay did. You can get the feeling it costs her something to do it this fast, but she wants an answer. If it is a possible, if she has the power to do what you say, to track through things she's owned, it's not a property of this orb. This is, as far as I can tell, this seems to be an enchantment that's keeping a spirit of elemental nature imprisoned. Not a strong one. Probably if it escaped, it would cause some ruckus in its immediate area and then leave. But that's all the
Nothing
power
weird.
it has. No, yes, that's all I can see with this. It seems that this is just a prison for a spirit. She passes the orb back to Scamp.
Alright, so before she trotted on to what we were doing, anybody got any ideas on what she could have been doing in Meadmere near
Barracks.
a military barracks?
I mean, what do you? I turn to to Sandy. Have you ever seen an egg like the one that she had?
Takes me to
Actually,
think.
if we can I do an Arcana check? Is that
Oh,
right?
you can do an Arcana check.
Yeah,
I
I
can
don't
say,
have to if you
I think
don't
no.
think I've
I'd say
seen
that
it.
Sandy says no. The closest thing is the snow globe you have there.
12.
Alright, can
Yeah, you've not encountered anything like this before. The closest thing would be maybe the shadow egg, but even then it wasn't quite like what she's described.
Good. As soon as you said egg, part of me died a little, and then it was
Yeah,
fine.
me too. I was horrified.
It wasn't like another cockatrice egg or something like that, was it?
From what she did, no, the cockatrice eggs were a sort of dull brownish sort of
This one
colour.
was blue
They were
with
not
spots.
dissimilar to ostrich eggs in appearance, although a bit smaller.
Right.
What about the screaming thing? Do you know anything about that? Is that familiar to you?
Not, it's not by anything that I've encountered, but it was a strange scream. It felt a lot like being attacked by a psychic attack. I went up against a few illusionists during my stint in the army, and one of them once figured out it created a scream similar to that, and it just flat out killed a whole bunch of people, but I don't think it was exactly the same.
Okay. So some sort of psychic thing. Probably something she's made or squirreled away in a little fucking house or something.
But she's not here.
Well, we know she's in Meadmere. I mean, this is a long shot, but could you give us any kind of guess at where in Meadmere that might have been?
She thinks hard back to what she saw. All I get is sound and sight, but I feel like felt coastal. I want to say I could see the sea at some point.
Okay, Corzin goes a little bit pale.
But beyond that, there's not a lot I can know. It looked like didn't look like a very like it wasn't like a city, but it was bigger than a village. Like definitely a.
I'm going to roll insight to see if I notice Corzin paling, if that's all right with you.
Okay,
Yeah, and in the meantime, I am texting you a question to which I'm going to roll a die for,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, 8. I don't know. I'd notice anything weird about Corzin.
No, your attention is
Beyond how everybody is
Ooh, I
already
don't know.
reacting.
no,
Like-
your attention is too focused on Sandy.
Also, I look over. He looks scared. This is normal for the
this is-
situation.
This is normal. This is
There's
normal for
nothing
your
weird going on
interactions
as
with
far as
Ava.
I'm concerned.
Okay, I've texted you the question.
Okay, I'm just waiting for that to come through.
Secret text. Secret
Or
text.
the question being is, could it be even?
It could be, but you don't like. That's not enough information.
I mean, I didn't see it firsthand, but yeah. I mean, is it even worth me rolling anything? Would he?
From the scant information you have, not really. There's you know that it's a.
Is there a military barracks in that place?
There would be. There would be in most towns of that type.
Right. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Yeah. Coulson just looks a bit pale and distracted, which again, considering the situation, probably not all that unusual.
I rolled insight and I see nothing unusual, so yeah, I'm going to bring it up.
The catchment, sort of having drained most of the dwarven whiskey / tea, and sucked on a couple of the sweets. Take some. Well, that was something.
Are you going to be okay?
I have no idea, but I've survived worse than that in my time.
Okay. Just as a word of warning, I don't know if you've heard about the shadows yet.
What?
There are some shadows loose in the city, and they're killing people at night. So don't be on your own in the dark.
Thank you.
Sorry, I know that wasn't what you needed to hear right now, but
honestly hope I never see you again if this is the sort of news you bring me, but okay.
Do you want some more sweets?
That's fine.
Is there anything else we can do for you?
I think I'm going to... I might go home now. So, if you're going to...
Thank you for your help. It's.
Yes.
I wish we had more to offer you.
I'm sorry.
No,
We really didn't.
No, that's fine. Thank you for snapping me out of it. That could have killed me. And yeah, looking at her, she looks pretty shaken up. If you get the feeling that whatever that attack was, if that had continued for maybe 10 or 20 seconds longer, that might actually have done to her what you did to that horse.
Shit. This is a bit of a weird request, but you said she had an eye around her neck?
It looked like maybe an eye. I didn't get a good look at it.
Do you think you could draw it, or no, just an eye?
Just like, it's hard to tell if it was like an eye or like a stone carved to look like an eye.
Okay, good to know.
I think it was blue, but that's about it.
Blue eye. Okay.
She had it hidden under her clothes.
Thank you.
Is it perhaps a bit of scrying apparatus like you have here, only the methodology being slightly different?
Perhaps this is whatever she used or knows. This is from a very different practice of magic to what I'm used to. For all I know, it could be something left over from a sorcerer. They were always able to break the rules.
Understood.
Right.
Thank you for your help, and again, we're sorry.
Okay. Have a good night.
Do you need us to walk you anywhere?
No.
Okay, don't be on your own in the dark, yeah?
Thank you.
And if we can ever do anything for you, let us know. We're from the Charlie's Regret, the ship.
Okay. Please go away.
Yeah,
We'll go away now.
She...
Come on.
Wait. Can you pour me another of those, actually, before you go?
yes, of course. I bought her a large one.
Yeah. Thank you. And you make your way out of Sandy Catchment's office. And that is where we're going to take our break. So, join us, gentle listeners, after this, no doubt, vitally important message. And now, a word from our friends over at Party Advantage.
Greetings, listeners. Are you looking to add more D&D fun to your lineup? Then be sure to check out Party Advantage, a D&D 5th edition play podcast featuring 2 campaigns alternating each week. In the Arius adventures, you'll set off into the land of Arius, from the ancient dragon gods that created this world to the rise and fall of various races and civilizations. This land has history that stretches far into times long forgotten. Our heroes find themselves on a journey that will take them to the busy city of gnomes, the gilded halls of the High Elves, and to the deepest depths of the Underdark. Then in the Farwind saga, you'll travel with our group of anti-heroes for their suspense-filled exploits as they explore the enigmatic continent of Farwind. This is an ancient land lost to the histories of Faerun, where mystery and danger shroud the deep forest, forbidden mountains, and dark mires. Yet every risk offers tantalizing rewards to those brave enough to take them. Will these parties gain the advantage on their next encounter? Find out every Wednesday on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. See you then.
Greetings. It is I, the Shadow of Corzin Horhace. Subscribe to Flintlocks and Fireballs, and like us, you shall become Legion. Subscribe to Flintlocks and Fireballs, and don't sleep with the light on.
And welcome back. So, you emerge around about 9 o'clock in the evening from the university. Sooner or later, you're going to have to rest. The fatigue of the day is going to catch up with you eventually. But is there anything else you want to do tonight before you do take that rest?
Should we have one last crack at looking?
Yeah.
Where?
Well, around where the lady died, maybe?
Right, yeah, I suppose.
Maybe another hour or two just searching.
Yeah.
We should check back at that poor lady, just to make sure there wasn't anything that we missed. We only had a chance to search the immediate vicinity.
Well, it wasn't a lady, it was a little girl.
Oh, I'm sorry, everyone's taller than me.
We should check someone's found her.
Celestia,
That was
covers
not
the
supposed
laugh
to
with
be
a cough.
humorous, but it was absolutely like a practical thing.
Okay, you head back.
I'm an elf. All humans look the same.
You head back and you can find that in the time in between, yes, it appears someone has found her. A sheet has been used to cover up the body, and there is a watchman standing, blue-coated, by the body with a lantern, keeping a bit of light. Has his musket on his shoulder, and just you can see there are a couple of people gathered at a safe distance away, peering, but seems that already some have begun to lose interest and move on their way.
Should we ask him if he's seen anything else? Or any other explanation? We just tend to be concerned citizens, Okay.
We got it.
I wander up to him. What happened here? If you don't mind me asking.
This urchin girl died. We think no obvious wounds. We think she just unfortunately couldn't find a place to sleep. Maybe she was sick. A little hard to tell.
We've heard rumours of shadow creatures.
He narrows his eyes at you, Scamp. Really? And what is it you think you've heard,
Well, I saw one in the square. It attacked a man.
Which square? When?
This morning. Out of character. What fucking square?
Judgment Square. Judgment Square.
Judgment Square.
Or alternately Saints Market, depending on which one of the two.
Yeah. Judgment Square this morning. It's quite distressing.
He seems to be putting some things together. So what you're telling me is that not 15 minutes after we find this girl, 3 strangers who just happen to know about some shadow attacks come wandering up, is it?
Well, there was a newspaper kid shouting about it.
Literally for the whole day.
Make a persuasion check.
Can I make it?
Yes.
Both of us?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going to say that one of you.
Okay, so advantage, no advantage?
No advantage, because he seems to be a little suspicious.
That is a 15.
Well, I'm afraid I don't know anything about that. If you've any information, I'm sure that you can
We
lay
know
it
more
in
than
with
you
the
will have heard
authorities.
from people in Judgment Square, I'm afraid. That's all we saw.
Right. I'll be on your way.
If you
then.
want, we can tell you about that if you want, but I'm sure you've heard already.
Yes. No. In any case, this isn't a public spectacle. He gives you a stern nod.
That was fucking unhelpful, wasn't it?
They're probably still kind of skeptical about the whole thing and will remain so until one of their own goes. I know what policemen are like.
Fucking dickheads. I mean, how are they still sceptical? Like, there's been shadows all over the town all day. Several people have probably died in the night. How are they so fucking stupid?
And guards have seen it.
Literally, guards have been attacked by it. Come on. Ugh.
Well, if the shadow hasn't come out of her yet, he'll see it.
They come out pretty quickly, don't they, darling?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm glad he's got a fucking lantern, at least.
Wait a minute. Are there any public libraries or somewhere we could do some more research on these sorts of creatures?
Not at night.
Maybe tomorrow.
Make an intelligence check.
Okay. 15.
I mean, there's definitely the university. One of the you vaguely got the impression from your when you were making your way through town that the large domed building is a library within it, and that there might. And it's always possible that with something like this, maybe the clergy might have their own sources of information.
Well, we're gonna be up reasonably early tomorrow to go and meet with this cleric.
Yes, we do. We shouldn't be out for too much longer. I mean, as much as anything, there's only so much we're going to find in the dark. But maybe an hour or two?
Alright then. I think probably what we should be doing is make our way back to ground zero, as it were, and then go in the opposite direction where the other two original ones went.
Why not?
Best we can do.
It's not going to hurt, is it? Because I don't think we can do any poking around with that fucking useless watchman around.
Is there just one watchman there?
Oh, just the one.
Maybe we should have a poke around in case he gets attacked, so we're in hearing.
You're probably right. We should look at the streets where he's not standing, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So you're doing a search around...
Yeah, but we're not going within where he could be able to see where he's standing.
Okay. You've already searched this area pretty thoroughly previously in the night, so I'm going to ask you to make this as a straight investigation check, please.
Okay.
And how long are you willing to spend?
What, half an hour? What do you guys reckon?
Yeah, and then move
Yeah,
on
half
to
an hour.
somewhere new.
That's a 17.
Okay. Searching around, there's honestly not a lot more to find. Like you scour the area pretty thoroughly. You find I'm going to say after half an hour of searching, so by this point it's about 9:30. You know, you're again like you're getting quite close to coming to an end on this search. You do even then there's just not much to find. If these shadows have been killing, they might not have been killing in the streets, or the bodies might have been cleared up, or you may just simply have not encountered them.
Right, ground zero.
Yeah.
So where are you heading to?
Where are we? We're in Spinner's End right now.
Yeah, you're in Spinner's End.
Should we go towards the Warrens?
Yeah, well, back to the Iron Ward. That's where Jimothy's shop is, isn't it?
They did. That man did mention that he'd seen some go through the archway in the Iron Ward. 2 of them, and that was originally when there was, not many. So
Yeah.
probably worth
that
it
direction.
because there might be a good little brood of them around there now.
Yeah.
Let's go there.
Okay. You head back through Spinner's End, heading into the Judgment Square Market through New Glazer's Ward. So you're heading back towards the Iron Ward, to the arch.
Through the archways where the guy said that they had gone, I'm going to say.
So yeah, you find yourself in the western edge of the Iron Ward, not far from Jimothy's shop. How would you like to conduct your search? By now it's about coming up close to 10.
Obviously lights and torches again.
Mm-hmm.
Look for, I guess we're looking for any signs of funny deaths and also rotten stuff. So
And just shadows. Just seeing
just
the
shadows, yeah.
Okay, give me an investigation check with advantage, please.
Cool. Come on, dice. You know you want to play the game. Okay, that's not terrible. That's a 16.
Searching around the Iron Ward, not really any rumours of sudden deaths or the like. There's no obvious signs of decay or ruin that you can find. There is one figure that you do recognise, scuffing his way back down over the bridge across Victor's Canal from the Glazers' Quarter, kicking an old some old discarded bits of rubbish. Stupid brothel! don't want to go there anyway. Maybe I'll just...
We should walk this child home.
Maybe I'll just spend it all on drink.
Hi.
Oh, hello there.
Hello. Having a bad night, are we?
Apparently, I've got to wait. They told me to come back in 3 years.
Yeah, they're quite correct, darling.
You know when we told you not to be out at night alone?
What are you doing?
Because shadows were killing people.
What are you doing
Look,
right
we're not
now?
your mum, but seriously, you should go somewhere where there are other people.
You don't
I
even
was
have a
trying
light
to.
on you, for God's sake.
Fine. I'll go home.
We can walk you there. Where do you live?
Got some people I live with in the Warrens.
Alright, shall we walk him back?
Yes.
Yeah, and on the walk, don't suppose you've seen anything, have you? Any funny deaths or any weird rumours or anything? Anything rotten that shouldn't be? Anything like that? Anything helpful?
No. Apparently they're doing, and everyone's gonna die because there's shadows discount at the Silken Sale.
Fuck off! So she just gets out her bottle of dwarven whiskey and has a swig.
Can I have some of that?
No, fuck off! You're a child. You are literally. Then again, you're a child, aren't you? I tend to Scamp.
Probably.
Yeah, fuck it. You can have a swig. There you go.
Takes a swig. Oh, thank you. Passes it back.
Quite all right. You're not having any more.
Okay. You walk this.
Start on the Ferocian stuff.
You walk this child sort of grumpily back through the Iron Ward to the Warrens, and he takes you to a kind of dilapidated old terraced house, and it is properly dilapidated. If either the local slumlord just flat out doesn't care about maintaining any order, or that they've forgotten that this property exists and everybody here is are just squatters. But you can smell quite a strong scent of opium coming from the house, and you can see there's a few lights on, little candle lights in some of the upper rooms. Thanks for walking me home.
That's
No
all
problem,
right.
lad.
Gives you a nod.
You couldn't do a quick ask in there and see if anyone's seen anything helpful, could you? I'll give you a gold piece if you like.
Okay. To do with these shadows and stuff, is it?
Yeah, funny deaths, anything rotten,
Okay.
all that stuff.
Happily take a gold piece.
I'll give it to you when you come back out and give me information.
Okay.
You can have it even if they don't know anything, but you need to ask.
Yeah, we need to know you've actually asked.
Okay. Goes in.
We're listening out here, do the work.
Otherwise, you'll just make up stuff.
Goes in, and there's a degree of... and you're basically sat waiting for about 5 to 10 minutes.
I listen to see if I hear him asking things.
Make a perception check.
I'm going to look for shadows where we are.
That would be
Yeah, that's what
13,
I'll do
so
as well.
fuck all.
You do hear sort of... from inside, but it's hard to tell whether people are just having a conversation or if he's actually asking around. You do hear the occasional of him speaking.
Definitely saying something.
Yeah. So he comes back out and goes, "Oh, nothing about the shadows. There's apparently their opium dealer got a fancy new gun from somewhere.
Great.
You can load up multiple shots at once, and then it fires them one after the other.
That's pretty clever.
Yeah,
Not remotely helpful, but, clever.
Where do you get one of them?
don't know. Just that it was new.
Very.
Right. Good to know. I give him a gold piece.
Thank you. He puts it into his underwear.
Don't be on your own.
Okay. Then scrolls up towards
Keep things lit.
whoever he's squatting with.
Oh God. Right.
All right, let's move around from the Warrens back, sort of in an arc towards the Iron Ward.
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay.
Go. Yeah. Via the Warrens through next to Timothy's bit. Yeah.
Looking for shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking really
Okay.
hard.
Give how long do you want to spend?
An hour.
An
What do you
hour.
think?
Yeah, an hour.
Because yeah, we spent half an hour before, so another
Yeah,
hour.
yeah,
Now.
so I'll take you
that
to
gets
about
us
11
like
o'clock.
8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, give me because you're kind of, to be honest, this is ground that you already covered on your way up towards the Glazers' quarter. So I'm going to say you search, but there's not much more information you can find just retreading these same areas.
Okay.
No, I was going to say if we're going from the Warrens, we can go up towards like the main road that intersects with Olymp's Nest, and then follow that back down.
Oh, I see. So you're going to check more
like
the
a
Olympies
big
Nest
arc.
area. Okay, give me.
Cool.
Okay, give me an investigation check then with advantage.
Cool. Come on, be good, please. Ooh, natural 20, bitches.
Nice.
Okay.
It was about time we had one.
Sparkly dice. I think that's the first one today. Literally, like,
Yeah.
Yes.
no
it
one has
is.
critted on anything.
So you actually, as you're searching, you take a bit of time to properly search. You actually go on a bit of a detour and really thoroughly search through Olympi's Nest. And you actually spend a bit more time than you planned. You spend about 2 hours on this.
Cool.
Takes you all the way up to midnight.
So by the time we're done midnight, yeah.
But you quite exhaustive. By the end of this very exhaustive search, you feel confident that you have found no traces of shadows whatsoever, or their victims, within Olympi's Nest.
Okay.
That's
Like
something.
you feel like you've searched this place thoroughly enough that you could actually rule it out. Is what
Cool.
I'm going to say with a natural 20.
Tonight, anyway. We don't know if they move.
Anywhere else we want to search before we go to bed?
Our bedroom.
Well, yeah.
It's
Where shall we-
midnight now. If you guys want to get a full long rest and still
We
be
need to
able
go to
to,
bed, yeah.
you guys are going to have to go to bed.
Where
soon.
should we stay tonight? Should we check in on the Gramanis?
Can do, or we can go back to the ship.
Yeah, either, I suppose. Wouldn't be bad to check on either
Or
of them.
just any pub.
Because the ship's in Cypress Key, right?
Yes, it
It's
is.
being repaired, though, isn't it? Shouldn't we?
I mean, you could possibly try and see if Captain Brandy has a spare room available.
Well, I was just going to say that a tavern's going to cost us, but if it's either the Gramanis or the ship, it isn't.
Yeah.
I don't think we can sleep on a ship while it's in dry dock, can we?
No, but he's staying somewhere. He said we could room, didn't he?
No.
Or we could go to the Gramanis.
They're probably closer.
They are very, very much
They
closer.
wouldn't mind, would they? Should we go there?
Just check everything's okay.
Yeah, it might be nice to check in on them.
Actually, yeah, the Gramanis are right in the middle of Olympi's Nest.
They are, yes.
Yeah, let's go there.
Okay. It's a short journey to make your way back to the to G-Frey Textile Merchants, the warehouse exterior. Well, one of the warehouse exteriors of the Gramani compound, and making your way in, you find yourself back in the quiet interior courtyard. One of the Gramanis is on watch, although this time it's actually Hope. She is kind of sitting by the little koi pond with and she has a pistol in a holster at her hip, and kind of reaches for it as the door opens, but her hand relaxes upon seeing who it is. I wasn't sure if you were going to show up.
Sorry, we stayed up a bit late searching for any leads.
That's just not what I meant. I'm glad.
Thank you.
Anything happen here?
No, we're all safe here as far as I can tell. Wisdom has been trying to set up something around the garden just in case shadows do come in. Maybe at some point you could help her with that, Scamp. But
Sure.
Otherwise, no, it's been blessedly quiet here. I'm just waiting for Mordecai to shut up shop and head back here. And for you, speaking of which, she reaches for her belt and produces a pouch. She begins to count out. It's some of it's silver, some of it's gold, but we'll treat it all as gold. She says, "Well, after I took the liberty of selling the silks off to our fence, this is 2/5. Obviously, we take 2/5. The sculptor takes 1/5, but this is it's your portion of the cut." And she counts out 60 gold pieces.
Lovely. So 20 each?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I don't need any. You can keep it.
Is she saying? Who are you saying that to? I should say.
To Hope. It was Hope, wasn't it?
Yeah.
She
Yep.
looks at you a little curiously.
You need it more than me. If you're going to get wisdom to university.
She nods a little. Thank you. That means a lot to me, Scamp. She takes your 20 gold and puts it back in her purse.
I'm going to be so broke one day.
I assume Wisdom isn't still awake, is she?
I mean, she's supposed to be in bed, but...
Well, I had something I wanted to ask her. She's good with magic, isn't she?
Well, better than any of us, which means she has any amount of understanding it whatsoever. So, if you could always go see if she is awake. If not, I'm sure she could talk to you in the morning.
Yeah, I might pop up there. You two are obviously welcome.
You head into the house. It seems most of the Grimmanis are either... Actually, no. In terms of the Grimmanis who are actually awake, it seems that Lilith has gone to bed for the night, but there is a slightly acrid tinge, smell to the air. And you can see that with a series of metal trays set out on the kitchen table, you can see that Chase, in a rather large form, is there, sleeves rolled up and long gloves on, and seems to be, and has some very large sealed ceramic jars next to her, and seems to be doing something with putting pieces of metal into baths of very acrid smelling clear liquid for a time before moving them out. Hello. It's good to see you.
I'm good to see you too.
She says, keep away from these. She points to the jars. These are full of acid. I use them for my metal etching.
Ah, good to know.
If you're looking to stay the night, we have a room, but I'll need to drag you up a couple of pallets, if that's okay.
If you wouldn't mind, that would be lovely.
Sure. Give me a moment. She takes her gloves off, seals up the jars of acid, and proceeds to bring out several old bed rolls and some bedding, which she prepares a room for you with. There is only one bed in the room, and it's but it seems quite a nice one. It seems like their general guest room.
So I'm going to pop over and knock really quietly on Wisdom's door.
Okay. There is a short pause before the door opens, and you see the small, pale form of the silver-haired, nubby-horned tiefling Wisdom. She's wearing a white nightgown. Yes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't wake you up, did I?
No, it's fine. I was reading.
Okay. So you read a lot about magic, don't you?
I try to, yes.
I was wondering if you'd heard of anything like a blue egg, blue speckled egg. The lady who put it down, she put it down, she walked off, she clicked her fingers, and it sort of screamed in quite a disturbing way, in a way that would injure people.
She shakes her head. Can't say I know about anything about either of those.
Sorry, I just thought you were worth trying. Also, I mean, long shot, really, really long shot. But have you ever heard of? Do you know anything about scrying spells?
I know that they're very advanced magic. I've done a little looking into divination, and a lot of it's about pulling in information, but most of it's about trying to sort it out, because it's one of the quirks about how divination spells works is sometimes it's very easy. It's actually easier to get information the more information you're looking for, the wider you cast your net, but it's harder to make sense of it. So I know that scrying, one of the reasons scrying is so expensive and needs so much equipment, is that it's about trying to narrow down what you actually want from all the noise. Looking for a needle in a haystack, you know?
Doubly long shot, but you haven't heard of anybody looking back when they're scryed on, have you?
No.
Okay,
Can't
just
see.
thought I'd ask. Sorry.
I'm not a diviner.
Know anything about shadows?
Besides what Mordecai told me this morning, that you told him?
Fair.
No.
No, just thought you were worth trying. You're very clever. Anyway, I'm sorry, we'll leave you alone. Anyone else?
Is Scamp about?
Yeah, they're just down the hallway. Do you want me to get them?
No. I should get to bed, but ask them to if they wouldn't mind spending a bit of time with me after breakfast tomorrow.
I'll ask them.
She gives you a nod. Okay, good night.
Good night.
Closes the door.
I go to bed.
Okay, you all head to bed. In this safe place, there is less of a need for watchers. And the three of you are all able to drift into your varying degrees of sleep. For once, your dreams are untroubled, even pleasant at times. But they pass without incident. The most memorable thing that sticks out in your dreams is Celestia. At one point you hear the sound of whinnying. Just this terrible death whinny.
Oh God. It's horrific.
And flashes of fire and lightning and ice. And then, otherwise very little remains of your dreams. And when morning comes and the dawn light filters in through the windows that face into the courtyard, the three of you awake to the smell of fresh bread, frying food from below. You can hear, it sounds like several members of the Gramanis are already up.
Scamp,
Yeah?
Wisdom wanted to talk to you after breakfast.
Okay. Is it
I'm
magic stuff?
I think probably it's Wisdom. That would make sense. She just wanted to talk to you about something. He said, would you spend some time with her after breakfast?
Corzin stretches and gets to his feet.
So,
Celestia's going to go downstairs and make a huge pot of coffee.
of course, you do have your beans.
I do. I have coffee and I have a kettle, so I can actually make
Yeah.
like a kettle for everyone.
So, descending, you find that the Gramanis have broadly, most of them have gathered together for a big breakfast. In fact, at this point, the only person who's not joined the rest of them is Chase. And as you walk past her room, you can still hear heavy snoring as you pass. Apparently, she is late to bed, late to rise by preference. But the Gramanis as a whole are dressed, and there is a big meal of porridge. There's a certain amount of fried strips of meat, little root vegetables and the like. It's essentially various cooked breakfasts. And you can see Justice looks up as you enter. Ah, hello. It's good to see the three of you. I'm afraid I was asleep when you came in last night.
It's quite alright. We were very late.
So,
We were trying to track down as many of those shadows as we can. The only good news we have is, other than, well, we managed to get rid of one of them, but we scoured the local area fairly intensely, and we're pretty damn sure there can't be any in the immediate area.
Yeah, we don't
that
think there are
is
any Olympus
very
nests.
good news. I'm glad to hear that. We will still keep our watch up, though.
Please do, because they could move. Celestia's pouring coffee for everyone.
You can see that Wisdom has a small crate just full of blocks of some of them are just big old wooden blocks set with carefully shaped studs of metal. Others are about small apple-sized chunks of metal that have been shaped in different ways. And you can see that they are marked with different symbols on them. Good morning. She looks over to you, Scamp in particular. It is good to see you again. I was wondering if you could help me set something up, maybe to help, defend the house in case of shadows.
Yep.
Good.
Sure.
So she takes the sort of crate out with and she takes the crate out and with you into the garden, and you can see that there's various different pieces of metal that, and she asks for your help in laying them out in a sort of concealed circle, hidden amongst the grass, amongst the different shrubs and so on, even a bit in the bits of rough stones by the edges of the koi pond. And as you're laying out these pieces of metal, she says, "So, you notice how when I did the basic 3 for you the other night, I had to use those little charms, the little bits of metal. So it's a funny thing. The way that a lot of magic works, it is like, have you ever seen magnets work?
No.
Okay.
Maybe. What's a magnet?
It is like with lodestones or in compasses. There's a piece of.
I've seen a compass.
Yes. Okay. So did you ever see someone put a bit of like a lodestone near a compass, and then the pin would move towards it?
Yes.
Okay, so the thing is, something we think pulls the pin towards it in the way that something pulls the pin north, but we can't see what that thing is. We cannot see what makes the magnet move, but we can see its effect. Yes.
Yes.
So magic works a lot like that. For me, and for mages, we can't always see the forces that make it work, but we can see the effects it has on different materials, and different materials change the way that it moves and flows and has effects. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Good.
Shall I roll a deception check?
Please do.
11.
She seems a little skeptical about your understanding, but marches onwards. Anyway, so there. The point is that when the mage is skilled enough, there are ways of shaping and changing magic that you can do just with your mind, or just with basically with your mind, and you make gestures and words and sounds, and that helps focus it and change it in certain ways. But for you do this all instinctively. You can just do this without any of the training. It comes to you naturally.
Sometimes I need stuff, though.
And most mages need stuff as well. You can't do everything with just thought and word. It requires some things to help make it work in certain ways. The shaping of the powers required is too great for you to do with just that. Sometimes you need something to focus it. So that is what I am doing with these. And she points to the chunks of metal and the wooden little pointers with bits of metal on them. These are these are made of 3 different metals, and you'll find them a lot in different types of magic. This one, she points to one with a symbol, is antimony. This one is tantalum, and this one has a silly name. This is a molybdenum. And they're quite expensive to acquire, but mages use them a lot because and other metals react in different ways with magic, but these 3 are really useful. See, antimony, she points to the antimony one, helps focus the we call it the ether, where we draw the power from to do spells. So if you put the antimony in the right place, you get the power in the right place. Which also means sometimes if you see someone who's been making this really complex circle to try and do a spell, and then you find out which bits are antimony and turn them all around, you can really mess it up.
Oh.
This one, she points to another very similar looking grey sort of shiny metal, but which is stamped with a different stamp, so you know which one it is. This is the tantalum. It helps limit the paths that the magic can travel in. It helps channel it by dampening its ability to flow around it. So it has to go in a certain way. And that's good for making sure that what you want to happen happens in the place you want it to happen. Because sometimes you want to channel power and it would have almost no effect if it was very spread out. But if you put it all in one place, you can see the effect, see? And so if you move that around, it makes a difference. And then the molybdenum, she points to the last one, this lets you change the I want to say the frequency, the type of the magic that is put out. So for you, that would be there's you can channel a type of magic that makes things get hotter, but if you use the molybdenum in the right place, it gets colder instead. Do you see?
Yes.
So, and now that she's set everything in place, she takes a bit of wood, just a stick of firewood, sticks it in the middle of the garden, adjusts everything, mutters quickly under her breath, and the stick of firewood bursts catches the light.
Ooh.
I am not a good mage, but if we set all of this up in advance, then any shadows that come into the center, into this garden, I can set them on fire.
That's fun.
And that's how we do our magic. That's how mages work.
Does it have to be fire?
I could maybe... to be honest, fire is the best thing I can do. I could also make light, or maybe some sound, or I could lift something or drop something. It's basically variations on the basic three.
Okay.
I'm not very skilled. This is just a way of
Fire's
giving
good,
me
then.
more of a help. You know?
Yeah.
And impulsively, she just gives you a hug. Thank you.
I awkward hug back. Like, arms patting on the back, slightly awkward.
Lasts a little longer than you're comfortable with before she detaches herself. Okay, well, have a good breakfast. And then she turns and walks very quickly away.
I just stand there for ages.
Corzin walks by and says, Scamp, are you alright?
Yep.
You want some
Come on, the
coffee?
porridge is getting cold.
You finish or don't finish, as the case may be, your breakfast.
While they were doing that, did I have time to smoke any opium this morning?
I'm going to say, yeah, you quietly snuck out back.
Snuck out into an alleyway, yeah. I haven't
Yeah.
done it at the table, obviously.
Yeah. Roll an
Not a
addiction
complete
check for me.
dick. That's a success, it's a 14.
Okay, yeah, you gain the benefits, but not the addiction.
Cracking. 6 temporary hit points, yeah.
Okay.
Get in.
You feel the gentle bliss of pain-numbing relief enter your body.
Well, that's the point, actually. We regain the hit points that we lost.
Yep, you're back up to 4
Yeah.
hit points. You regain half of your expended hit dice, although I'll say, for the sake of, because it was effectively the same as doing it on a long rest, Celestia, you regain all of your hit dice.
Cracking.
Because opium.
Also, more importantly, all the spell slots back.
All of your spell
God,
slots
so
are back!
nice. So nice. I'm so fucked.
And my sorcery points.
Woo!
Woo!
We used so many spells yesterday.
Yeah, well, with good reason.
Okay, so do you guys want to? It's about 7 in the morning. Do you want to do anything before? What? So you guys went to sleep. So it's about 8 in the morning. Do you want to do squeeze anything in before your second breakfast appointment, or are you going to head straight over to the butter bars?
We should check with the people at the sculpture garden place, just
How they're doing.
see how they're getting on.
Yeah, why not?
And I should leave friends somewhere. Check
Is that
another.
a long way?
Yes, we should do that. So, friend already did the bit under the iron ward, didn't he?
Do we think the sewers under where we currently are worth looking at? Probably not.
We
They probably wouldn't have
discounted
been
it,
in there.
didn't we? With that, well, out of character, I rolled a really good check and we discounted it. So maybe
Yeah,
something
so
else.
I feel like in character, you feel like your search was thorough enough that
They wouldn't have been in the sewers at night. They'd have been above ground where people are. So they're probably not in the sewers underneath if they weren't in the area above at night.
But
I
the
would
Warrens,
probably... Yeah, that was what I was going to suggest.
because people died there last night,
Yeah.
that might not be a bad shout.
Okay. Yep. So, which ward would you like to drop a friend down into to search?
The Warrens.
Okay. I'll roll an investigation check for friend. Okay.
Obviously, we're going to go and talk to the cleric while Friend's doing that.
Okay, so you'll have to come back and pick Friend up afterwards.
Yeah.
So you leave. Friend's skull floats out of your pocket and descends down into the sewers. Righty ho! See you in a couple of hours, probably.
Bye. Have fun.
As you walk your way towards the statue garden, there is a familiar, still slightly sullen about being too young to hire a prostitute figure. Because when you're a teenager, maybe your priorities are a little different than they should be. Like,
Fair.
yeah. Get your Crosswater Sentinels! Get your Crosswater Sentinels! Missing people in Crosswater! Serial killer on the loose!
For fuck's sake.
Crosswater Sentinels!
I'd like to buy a Crosswater Sentinel, please.
Oh, thank you, that'll be a copper.
Thank you.
He doesn't.
Between you and I, lad, do you reckon that this serial killer is actually the thing we were discussing the other day?
I mean, probably. He gestures to the paper. Editor didn't seem to think so.
Editor's a fucking idiot.
And indeed, reading the newspaper, you can see there's the main story is about the multiple people have been going missing within Crosswater, and there is a mention that in it that perhaps about ridiculous rumours, according to the editor, that shadowy monsters are responsible for the killings. Where it seems more likely to him that perhaps this is a result of increased gang violence, or even a crazed serial killer such as the one that happened. Because that apparently crazed serial killers are exciting.
Okay, new plan, says Celestia, reading
Where's
through
your
this article.
editor live?
He's based. They've got an office in the Duke's Ward.
I think.
Heck.
Does it say anything about where the bodies turned up? Because that might actually be useful.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna roll for that. Annoyingly, there's been terrible journalism in this. There's no reference to the bodies turning up anywhere, just across Crosswater. No locations really given. It seems that the copy on this one is pretty sensationalist. There is also a sub headline below for another major story, but hasn't taken the top billing of whaling sickness in Meadmere. Trade difficulties expected.
Shit. Okay, new plan. We've got to go and murder this editor because they are quite clearly wasting valuable air that I could be breathing.
Well, murder's a strong word, but a good persuasion.
We could go and put the frighteners up a bit.
Well, anything that'll improve this hack rag.
Yeah, and we could do some weird shadow illusion bullshit at him, couldn't
Exactly. He's doing a lot of harm. But we should go to the statue garden, have our breakfast meeting, and then just see where we're at.
we? Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Heading into the statue garden, it's easy enough to get a quick meeting with Veldrina, who seems as coffee dependent and sleep deprived as ever. She meets you in the usual room. Yes, hello. How are things? She sips at some coffee.
Okay, we were wondering how you were doing on the shadow front.
Well, we've been trying to do our own investigations on that front. Unfortunately, it seems that while we've been taking precautions and keeping our people travelling in twos and threes, those same precautions mean that we've not run into any of those shadows trying to actually attack us yet, and they've been fairly sneaky. There was one incident that came up, which up in Spinner's End, there was this one of the watch got killed there. after we had found out about it from the coroner. Died of the same symptoms as a girl he was supposed to be standing watch over.
Oh, shit.
Well, he had it coming, but...
He did. I mean, he was an absolute fucker. But
Nobody deserves that, though.
no, not really. No, we talked to him.
Does that mean they can kill as soon as they rise, then?
Or, well, he
Or
was a
there was
man
another
alone.
one
Back.
hanging
He was a
about.
man alone. He was an obvious target. We
But we
don't
searched
know.
that area pretty thoroughly. There was nothing there when we left. It could have come back.
It could have done, or it could be in the sewers or something.
It could be that she had... We don't
All right,
know.
there's
we just don't
a
know
third
enough.
option, which is slightly grim, but something we are gonna have to possibly consider. These shadows come from the dead bodies of the people they kill.
Oh shit, we might need a cleric, mightn't we?
Well, no. They can hide in the dead bodies of the people they kill. It's shadowy and dark inside somebody's mouse.
That's really gross. But you have a point. But again, I refer to my previous point, and we might need to start getting a cleric to the bodies to make sure there's nothing
Well, we are, yeah.
shit going on.
But we don't know how quickly they rise. If it's immediately, we've got no chance.
True. Very true.
And we think they group, don't we? So they're unlikely to be in bodies during the day. And it's a long-term solution.
Yes, but you're quite right. We should consider the possibility of them hiding in the body that they've just, killed. Right. On that lovely note, I think maybe we should go to the meeting with this cleric, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I relay to Veldrina the ones that we've killed, the events of last night. I'm not going to say it because we all know what happened at
You
the time.
relay that information. She nods, seems to file it away internally, sips some more coffee. Right, well, I'll keep you informed in anything I find, and obviously, if the opportunity comes up to solve any of those other problems we have, shadows are haunting, but unfortunately, business still needs doing as well.
Yeah, well,
Anything that you can do that has a radiant aspect to it seems like your best bet at this point.
We'll try, but to be honest, we don't really have that sort of thing stocked up. We deal a lot with poisons, but not really that sort of... That really won't be helpful here.
Magic affects them, but
Okay,
no better than anybody else.
we'll see what we can do about that then.
and obviously be careful with your sewer channels and things.
Yes,
But I suppose you've thought of that already.
she gives you a nod.
Right.
Okay.
See you soon then.
See you soon. And you make your way out across the town towards Victor's Grove. And make it, as I'm going to say, do you go through the centre of town, sort of through the Duke's Ward, or do you want to go via Spinner's End and the Weaver's Ward?
My instinct is Spinner's End because she mentioned that more stuff had happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
I mean,
keeping
it's
an
Just
eye
in
on
daytime,
case,
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Anything out of the ordinary.
Okay, just casually walking through, you do overhear people are talking openly about the guard that got murdered, and the idea of shadows, given the apparitions seen over at Judgment Square the previous morning, has at least taken root here, and people are now more worried about the possibility of, if not shadows, then sort of shadowy monsters. Striking from the dark and killing people. So that at least, there is definitely now. It's now solidly into the rumour mill.
I mean, it's definitely good.
So you make your way up past the Weaver's Ward, and past the university into Victor's Grove, where you are greeted by Harold Butterbar himself, who seems very happy to see the three of you approach. Oh, well, the three of you are a sight for sore eyes. I'm glad you didn't run into anything too troublesome in the night.
Oh, we ran into plenty of troublesome things in the night, but we're fine.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, come in. Let's get some second breakfast down, yeah. Second breakfast.
Much obliged to you,
Second
sir.
breakfast is literally the second breakfast you're having today, and it is very similar to the first breakfast, but there's more cold cuts and sliced cheese and such.
Like a little continental breakfast, as we would call it in England.
Yeah.
Maybe nowhere else. I don't know if other people call it that.
Possibly
I've
on
no
the
idea.
continent, it's just breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, there is some green tea served. Actually, would this be green? No, this is midmere. So this would be. Oh fuck! No. This is. I just realised this is Brighthall. No, it's morning coffee. Not as strong as not as strong as Celestia has it, but and certainly not as strong as Valdrina has it.
I feel like Celestia only has it that strong because she's not sure how to make coffee.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, when you don't quite know how much coffee you need to make coffee, and you're just like, oh, just put a bit in.
Yeah, this coffee is actually like a very nice, rich, sort of creamy sort of roast. Those of you who have it, Scamp, if you don't want any, there is instead some milk.
No.
Yeah, milk is made available to you. So, as you're sat down with the rotund figure of Harold Butterbar, you also find that there is another. As you're shown to the breakfast table, there's a few. Well, I say there's a few others. Much of the rest of the family is also at second breakfast at the other ends of the table. So there's all of these halfling children and a few, some of the aunts and uncles before they head off to do their various works or tuitions or such. But there is also a guest, and up at the top of the table where you, Harold, and Janine are eating. Janine is looking much better today.
Good.
Although she is, she seems mostly focused on her food and doesn't talk too much. There is also a male orcish fellow. He's pretty good looking for an orc. Kind of got an olive green sort of skin, blonde hair. He has that sort of lithe body you'd get from someone who's spent a lot of their time dancing over the years. And he's dressed in a just plain black vest with a white shirt underneath and a black necktie, and is quite quietly helping himself to some cold cuts and bread as you come in. Hello there. I understand you are the people that. Hello there. Sorry, I had a bit of salami down my throat there. I say hello there. My name is Victor. Victor Faz. And yes, Harold said you wanted to speak to me. Yes.
Yes, we might be in need of a cleric. So.
I see. What sort of needs did you have in mind?
Stopping the end of the world.
Okay.
That's a bit of an overstatement.
Maybe
but
the end of Crosswater if we're not careful.
They spread out, don't they? They won't stop here.
Scamp.
There, you see several. You see that a lot of the kids are now looking at you.
Telling fairy stories. It's all good.
Make a deception check.
I don't think I deserve a check for that, but I'm going to do one anyway. 21, bitch.
Given the stories that you were telling them yesterday, they actually go like, oh, story time.
I'll tell you some later.
Okay. And they go back to their breakfast.
I love them. Anyway.
Lowering his voice a little. Yes. The Harold mentioned some of what you have encountered. If you are certain then that these are shadows.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we're pretty certain.
We're very certain. We've seen them kill people. We know where they came from, and it's a really, really evil place, and we're certain.
I can certainly see what I can do to get the support of the church into this and the watch, but for the really... there are some things that I can do for you myself, but for the really powerful tools, I will need to write to one of the chapter masters, ask them to bring them in. I hope that we will not need them, but there are some certain tools that we can make available.
Like what?
Well, in the worst case, there are a limited number of day orbs some of the chapters have, which were designed to be used against creatures like this. They create daylight for a brief amount of time, weakening them, and also perhaps in some cases damaging or destroying them as well. But these are rare. The means to produce them are dependent on the favors of very powerful spirits, the blessings of very specific saints. So they are not easy to replace. So it will take me some time to get hold of those. I cannot say how many days, but I will make the message as urgent as I can.
If you could, I think that would be really good, because we might have a real proper disaster on our hands.
No.
Do you have any idea how many clerics there might be in the city garrison?
In the city as a whole, yes, spread amongst all three of the churches. I would expect that there are perhaps a total of 30. I can certainly speak to 12, but I would expect between 30 to 40 as a whole. I do not know with the other two churches, major churches, but there's But I warn you, most of the clerics are not as trained as I am. They are still here because they are learning the secret, the ways of how to deal with the saints.
Even if they can't directly help, it's still worth everybody knowing, at the very, very least.
These things are susceptible to radiant damage. We know that much.
Yes. And magic damage in general is better than...
Magic's certainly over mundane.
Yes.
And it's not hard to hit them, it's just that lots of stuff doesn't do much damage.
Yeah.
Well, there are some... Well, one thing what I can do is I can get my church to spread the message in our sermons, warn people, keep things keep people on their toes, and I can see about trying to get support from the watch as well. Perhaps they will take things more seriously.
From you, maybe, yeah.
Yes, but all of these things take time. If we can get if we can try and find where they are more physically based, then we have a better chance of rooting them out.
That's what we've been trying to do.
Yeah, supposedly they'll have nests, basically. Is nest the right word? I think so. Supposedly they group together in the day. They gather in dark spaces, and there'll be lots of them. We've just been trying to find them, but we didn't have a lot of luck yesterday.
Good. That is good news. Okay, well, there are some things that I can do to help you today. I will... do you have a place you are staying in town, somewhere I could send things to? I could send them back here. If that would be all right, Harold? Butty sort of nods. Oh, yeah, that'd be fine.
Either that or the G. Frey textile merchants.
No, the pub's probably better.
Yeah?
Yeah, we don't. There's no one there, but you shouldn't go there.
Yeah, I think
there'll be
Fair
no
enough.
one to accept passage. It's
Nah.
shut.
It is shut. Yeah, maybe.
Okay, well...
Maybe the brass lantern?
The brass lantern, that is...
Or actually, you could drop everything off at the sculpture garden. That might be easier.
Oh, what, the coffee shop?
Yes, we have friends there.
We've been staying there.
Ah, yeah, I do recall they have some rooms there. Okay, fair enough. One thing that I can get hold of you is we do have access to holy water. That there's a limited amount I can requisition. It is unfortunately very expensive to produce, but in an emergency such as this, I should be able to get you perhaps 6 flasks of it today. Your own use.
That would be so
very useful.
wonderful.
That would be great.
You need to you throw classically with these cases they come in the flasks and you throw them at things, and if they are creatures like this, and then the flask the water will affect it with the light of the regent. So that is something I can make available to you. More than that, I have to sell because of that is using up my personal budget of what is allowed to me, and I have limits on what I can requisition. I'm sorry, it is the bureaucracy of the church.
Sorry, that's fair. The 6 would be wonderful if you wouldn't
Yes.
mind.
More than that, I have to sell you at cost at 25 gold crowns per flask.
Good to know.
That much I can those I can give you. I will, when I return to my church, I will have them sent to this brass lantern for you. I will also see about about anything else I can do. The clerics under my control, under my tutelage, they are. One day they may well be find employment with the army and be sent into battle, but they are not soldiers. It is I could not I would not feel comfortable sending them in without the escort of a platoon of musketmen with them, which they could provide.
Nobody should be going up against these things alone.
No, do
Just
press
straight
that
up.
to them. Don't be out on your own in the dark.
Good.
And also, we're not up for just getting people killed. It's not going to help anything.
Good. I am glad to hear that.
Every one who dies adds another one to them. That's something that should be pressed home as strongly as possible.
Okay. This there is one other thing that I can do for you, which I think would help. If you find me your easiest way to find me is at my church in the Iron Ward. Church, of course. I am the high priest of Saint Bridget, and there is a blessing I can give you from Saint Bridget that will grant you a measure of protection against death for 8 hours. It will only last you once, but if something like these creatures would be about to kill you, it can stave that off, but only once.
That's
Better than nothing.
I
Incredible.
could grant these to you now. I have the ability, or if you want, you could come and find me later.
What do you both think?
But I can only do this once per day. Well, 3 times
What are
per
we
day.
planning on doing as soon as we leave here?
We're literally going to go and look for shadows, aren't we? So it might not be a bad idea to do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you mind?
We're more likely to find more during the day. At night, we'll be picking them off one at a time.
Whereas in the day, we're going to go to a place that has lots of them, aren't we? So
Yeah.
He nods carefully. All right, then this is this I shall do. And he goes to each of you in turn and pulls out a small little saint's little symbol from his chest and grips it. and turns to each of you and touches you on the the breastbone, the lips, the point between the eyes, the top of the head, saying to each, "Regent, protect this one who fights in your name. St. Bridget, guard this one who fights in your name. Grant them a measure of stay against the inevitable as they fight to do your holy duty." And this is something I hadn't actually mentioned, but as he does so, Corzin and Celestia, you see slithering up out of his clothing is a brilliant silver and blue spirit which looks like a feathered serpent. It writhes around his arm and touches each of you, brushing against your skin as the spell is cast. And as you are touched, you feel something settle around your heart. Like a little guarding or warding. So, within the next 8 hours, the first time you drop to 0 hit points as a result of taking damage, you instead drop to 1 hit point and the spell ends. Alternatively, if the spell is still in effect when you are subjected to an effect that would kill you instantaneously without necessarily dealing damage, the effect is instead negated against the target and the spell ends. So if somehow you're in a situation where you were about to get dropped by a shadow's strength draining ability instead of its necrotic damage, and you hadn't gone to 0 hit points yet, that would stop you from dying instantly.
It's protection from death.
Yeah, it grants.
Literally.
Yeah.
It's Death Ward.
It's Death Ward. The spell is Death Ward.
Okay.
Yeah, and it grants you 1 pass.
I turn to him. I turn to him after this is done. Is this something you could do again tomorrow potentially?
Yes, this is the limit of what I can do today.
No, but I mean, would you mind if we came back to you tomorrow?
No, not at all.
If this is still going on, I mean.
Not at all. Please do.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's really, really helpful.
I regret I cannot do more, but all that I will do, I can.
You've made a huge difference.
Have you dealt with shadows or things like this before?
Not shadows. When I was assigned for a time to the 17th Grenadiers during the 13 Years' War, and I did fight against Thryne's resurrectionists, so I have dealt with the undead before, but not in manners such as this. And I have performed exorcisms against the incorporeal, spiritual undead of this type, but not specifically shadows. These are terrifying, and as such, whenever they are found, they are hunted down.
Understandably.
There are some. They have been hunted. When they are found, they are hunted down so thoroughly that many do not even believe they still exist. Obviously, this is the case that they do, and sometimes in places, usually within Meadmere, if one of the old towns was destroyed by Alderai, the sorcerer and necromancer, is found, there will still be shadows within those. But
understood.
Thank you for taking this seriously.
Of course.
You're one of the first that hasn't actually, unfortunately, encountered these things.
I will raise support. I will do everything I can to
Thank you. Let us know how it goes. We'll check in with you in your church.
Okay.
Do you think you could talk to the newspaper editor?
That one. What, you mean of the Gazette?
The Crosswater Sentinel.
Sentinel, yes. The Gazette went out of business 3 years ago. The Sentinel. Best of luck with that. Howard Black Bull is known for being as stubborn as his namesake.
Oh, good.
Okay. Right. We'll handle that, I guess.
Yes.
So where are we going to start searching for these things?
Well, we could see if my friends found anything.
That might
That's
be a good
true.
start.
Okay. And yeah, you head back down towards the Warrens. You find the little spot where you left, where you put Fred down. You find the small silver skull as they're waiting for you.
Any luck?
Hey, friend. Good news and bad news. The good news is, well, the bad news is I wasn't able to find any shadows in the sewers underneath the Warrens. The bad news is I did find a body like the ones you saw last night in the sewers towards the edge of the Warrens just before I started to run out of time and had to come back out. More towards the Glazers Ward sewers? The new Glazers Ward sewers, I should say. So, yeah.
Okay.
I'd say if you want
That's
to...
where we start.
I guess that's
Where?
the place to start, isn't it, then?
Where are we starting, Scamp?
Wherever. Oh, right. You guys still can't. Friend. He found a body, but not any shadows. He ran out of time, so edge of Glazer's Ward.
Right. Hang on, I see. Specified New Glazers Ward.
New
There's two
Glazers
different
Ward.
things.
New Glazers Ward.
New Glazer's
Yeah.
Ward. That's different.
That's different from the Glazers Quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's New Glazers Ward and there's Glazers Quarters. So
Yeah.
we need to get a New Glazers Ward. Cool. Right, let's.
Cool.
Could your friend tell you where he found the body? Like exactly where?
Oh, sure thing. Yeah. I could, if you want to, if you've got some way of getting down into the sewers that you big folk can get down into, or you folk with bodies, then sure, I'd be happy to direct you.
Okay. Let's find an entrance, I guess.
Okay. Do you want to search around for an entrance in the Warrens?
I guess maybe edge of New Glazers Ward would be ideal.
Edge of
Yes.
Glazers Ward. Okay. All right. Yeah, give me a quick investigation check.
Can I do it with advantage? Is
Yeah,
that
go
allowed?
for it.
Cool. Shit, 13.
One
One was a 2, so it could have been worse.
Yeah, there aren't that many obvious entrances that you could easily fit into, except of course one that you've already been into before in New Glazers Ward,
Oh yeah.
which
Yeah,
is the
well,
house on Whittaker Grove.
Brilliant. Let's go down there.
Okay, heading back down there.
Ooh, there's probably a mouldy chill down there, isn't there? Yuck.
The friend thinks, okay, it was broadly off in that sort of direction. No, go left, yes, that sort of direction. And as you're working your way through the tunnels, it's going, I feel like it was maybe off this way. Yeah, maybe this way. I mean, I'm doing this like, how you get it on the streets. I've not been through this entrance before. You pretty quickly realise you're going in the direction towards where you left the tool.
Good. Gonna keep a really close lookout for anything.
I'm going to light us with dancing lights.
Okay. Dancing lights pop up.
Just like surround us with them.
Around
Four of
you.
them.
Okay, can I ask for perception checks then, please? If you're keeping an eye on it. Sure, why not?
Shit, 9.
Yeah. 10.
12.
Oh,
Bloody
no.
hell, guys.
Okay. You make your
Mate.
way.
I also
Relying on
rolled
Corzin
mate.
to be better.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's usually us two, like, and Corzin actually does something on perception checks.
You make your way back as you're making your way through, you find yourself heading towards that sort of central hub point where you met the Troll before. And looking at you find yourself approaching. I give you a choice. Do you guys? It looks like the route you'd want to be taking is broadly through one of the other. I'm going to say, if you remember the sort of crossroads at the Troll place, it would be going west down the western passageway, the one you didn't cross into, to get to where you need to go from this direction. Would you guys want to approach from the south, the direction you originally approached, or from the east, where the portcullis was? The now very sort of moulded apart.
I guess the south, because we know there's no traps there.
Yeah, but I'm gonna keep an eye out for anything we may have missed last
obviously.
time.
Okay. You find yourself back at the. Okay, yeah. Give me an investigation check then, if you're thoroughly watching the area.
Me? Or
Whoever.
anyone.
All right.
All.
Everyone, I guess.
18.
Mother funster. That's
7.
3.
Okay, as you make your way back up through the main entryway as before to the south, you find the barricade of rubble that the Troll had built, and as you're about to make your way through, Celestia, hold up a hand. You can see where you didn't discover it before, but the barricade is actually propped up with with bones in such a way that it's designed to crumble onto anyone who might accidentally disturb those bones as they passed through the entryway. This was a crude Troll trap. You can also see the remains of the Troll still floating on the water. Actually, no, it wasn't floating in the water. You dragged it onto the side, so still on the side near the portcullis. Looking at it in the light, it's a bit hard to tell, but it seems to be very heavily decayed. The chitin has broken and cracked. The remaining bits of Troll meat are withered and blackened and mouldy.
Is this a normal amount of decay for the time?
Make a nature check or a medicine check.
Can I make a nature check?
Yeah.
Can I help Corzin?
Yes.
Is that all
if
right?
you're both making nature checks.
Okay.
So Sam, you make it with advantage because I'm going to help you.
Is this really something you can help with? Oh,
You don't have to let me help. That's all right.
I'll say no. I'm going to ask you to make those checks individually, if that's all right.
Okay,
please.
so Sam, take your first one.
Okay. That was not very good then.
11.
10.
For both of you, you can tell that this is a level of decomposition you'd expect from maybe a week or two rather than 2 days.
Okay, be on your guard.
Right.
I don't know that they can feed on dead things, but that's...
I mean, they can definitely
older
rot
than it should
things,
be.
can't they?
Their presence rots things. I suppose that could be enough. But that means that there's definitely some down here, or that they've been through here at least.
Yeah, there must be.
Well, I think the body and this confirm they're down here somewhere.
Well,
Alright,
let's keep
let's find
looking.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
How long does that potion of resist necrotic last?
1 hour.
1
I
hour.
want to drink it.
Is it worth it?
I'd say pop it when we get in combat.
Yeah, it's kind of how I feel.
Okay.
We've discussed that a potion is a bonus action, isn't it?
Drinking a
Health potion yourself
Drinking a
is...
health potion yourself is a bonus action. With other potions, I think it's generally a standard action.
Okay.
Just because otherwise you could get that off with. I mean, I'll do one check, but otherwise you could just neck, say, a potion of fire breathing, and then immediately.
Yeah, that seems balanced and fair.
Yeah.
I had it in my head that it was the action rather than the potion that was important, but that's fine. No, I'm not
No,
sure
in fairness, the action is the important thing there. I'll say
No,
with
but I'm
some...
happy to go with whatever rule you have, like your DM. It's cool. It's all good.
No, it's the action that's the important thing. You can drink a potion on a bonus action and feed it on a standard. That's it. If that's the rule, that is the rule I've gone with thus far effectively. So we'll make that the rule.
Okay. Again, if you'd rather not, I don't mind.
That's fine. So, now that you've seen how the barricade is rigged to crumble, you can safely move around it. Don't forget, however, that the centre of this chamber has been dug out and is water. So if you want to get to the eastern side, you will probably need to swim through.
Ew. Oh well, let's go for it.
Okay.
Can't we go around the outside?
Yeah, there is arguably if you cling onto the barricade itself, you could try and walk around the outside. This would be I want to say an athletics check from everyone to do that, though.
Yeah, right.
All right, happily.
Celestia's going to be in the water in 3 seconds, but I'm giving it a go anyway. Oh, that's not bad actually.
16.
18.
11.
Okay. Scamp.
Shadows don't need to breathe, do they?
The three of you make their way around the edge. In what order do you guys? Who goes first, essentially?
Can someone check the water as we go?
I'll go
The
first,
lights.
and yes, I
Are
will.
you saying this in character?
Yes.
Okay, I put a
Because they
couple.
don't need to breathe.
I put a couple of lights in the water.
Okay, make a perception check.
Perception.
12. Fucking hell.
Oh, actually, that's 17.
Okay. Looking down, there are 2 lights still in the air, in the middle of up above. 2 lights go down. Corzin, you staring down, you see 4 shadowy figures at the bottom of the pool.
Shit.
Looking up, you see 3 more pressed, squeezing into the space atop the barricade.
Oh.
And that is where we will pick up next time.
I hate you.
You're the worst.
Okay, so thank you all very much for playing. Thank you all very much for listening. And farewell from all of us here at Flintlocks and Fireballs. Fair seas and natural 20s.
The truth like water in your hands, you hunt in darkness for a chance. When future plots are glimpsed ahead, you'll wish you'd stayed at home in bed. So gather your muskets, gather your spears, we'll plunder the shores of Calcinea. No kraken, storm or spell we fear, so come and sail with us, my dear.